Sonia, I think everyone has joined, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All the
Not
entrepreneurs.
that. Ma'am, Manjula ma'am joined. Sanjana ma'am joined.
Okay, once they have joined, I
Second time
have
I'm also joined.
co-host. I have made her as a co-host.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's
Good
on
afternoon.
live
Everyone, the
stream.
invitees, we have Sanjana Ramanan, we have Dr. Manjula, and
Yes.
we do have Madam Subhatra, and I wish the others. Is it Sonia Sivakumar?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So welcome to everyone. So we'll wait for some more minutes and then
Sure,
start.
ma'am. Sure.
Dr. Jennifer also joined. Dr. Chitra, Miss Chitra from, I think, Madam.
Yes.
Is that?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Professor Mani Megalai, Chitra Shivkumar here. Hi.
Yeah. Nice to have you all here. Welcome.
It's our pleasure, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam. I was inviting you. I think you were not there visually. So in the video, I could not see. Now only. So your co-speakers are all here, and we are only waiting for Ms. Elizabeth to join. She is also there. Welcome, Ms. Elizabeth.
Thank you very much.
So I think we can start in 2 minutes. It is 28. Let us wait for 2 more minutes and then we can start. And the participants will keep joining. We have to be on time, and last time it took a little more time. So I think this week we will be able to manage because there's no inauguration. Last time we had inauguration that went off up to at least half an hour or more. Madam Chitra Ganapati is to join, I believe. And Patricia will join later. She's also in the election. So she is in some administrative position in some. So Dr. Sugantha from Lady Doe College, she will be the moderator. And each speaker will talk for about, I think it is a question answer kind of interaction. And apart from the questions we have shared, if you want to, anything which you want that it's to be shared, okay? So you take the liberty to do so. Sugantha will post the questions. Maybe if it is overlapping kind of thing. Dr. Manjula can mute yourself when you are talking there.
Ma'am,
Okay.
Chitra Ganapati ma'am has joined.
Okay, so everybody is here except Patricia. Patricia will join a bit later because she's going to be the last speaker. And so we can start. Dr. Amina, who is doing that? You are only doing that. MC, no?
Ma'am, I'm doing
Yes.
the MC, no?
Yeah.
Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, please go ahead.
Very good afternoon to all present here. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all for this visual roundtable conference series on women in leadership. Yes, beyond the boundaries, celebrating women leadership in commemoration of International Women's Day 2022, jointly organized by Mother Teresa Women's University, Madurai Kamaraj University, and Bharatdasan University. Today, the Roundtable Conference Series 2 turned out to be the platform for sharing the experience of women entrepreneurs on the theme entitled Women Entrepreneurship, Prospects and Challenges. Yes, of course, today we are here to celebrate women entrepreneurs by taking a look back at those ladies who chose to challenge and crossed all the hurdles with flying colors. Before getting into the session, now I invite Dr. Meena Priyadarshini, Director and Head in charge of the Department and Center for Women's Studies, Mother Teresa Women's University, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Ms. Sonia. Thank you, Ms. Sonia.
Okay.
Respected dignitaries on dais and off the dais, very good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all. Entrepreneurship is a great process which enhances the country's socio-economic status. But women entrepreneurship not only boosts economic condition of a country, but also gives a respect and power to the nation. Today, as a part of International Women's Day celebration, we have gathered here to celebrate women entrepreneurship in beyond the boundaries, celebrating leadership as entrepreneurs. The Roundtable Conference too. Welcoming is a gentle art of enhancing a rich culture. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all for this forum. First and foremost, I welcome Dr. Vaidehi Vijay Kumar, Vice Chancellor of Mother Teresa Women's University, and Dr. Selvam, Vice Chancellor of Bharathidasan University and Registrar of MK University, Madurai, who have sent their wishing messages for the great success of this program. Welcome you all first. Then I'm very happy to welcome on behalf of the organizing committee, Ms. Chitra Shivakumar, Managing Partner, Tanlings Francis of Titan Company, Chennai. Welcome you, Madam. Ms. Elizabeth Putran, Founder Partner, Putran and Associate Intellectual Property Associate. Welcome you, Madam. Then Dr. Manjula Jagatramka, Director, Vaitrana, Mumbai. Welcome you, Madam. Then Ms. Sanchana Ramanan, Executive Director, Livia Polymer Products, Pudukkottai. Welcome you, Madam. Then Ms. Subhatra, CEO, PBR Foods, Coimbatore. Welcome you, Madam. Then Ms. Chitra Ganapati, Managing Director, Kadambavanam, Temple of Tamil Traditions, Madurai. Welcome you, Madam. Then Ms. Patricia Mary, Proprietor, Vempuli Men's Saloon, Trichy. Welcome you, Madam. I welcome all the women entrepreneurs who are the twinkling stars of just business. Welcome you all. Then I'm very delighted to welcome Dr. Shukanta Ramamurthy, Head of Economics Department, Legislative College, who is going to be a moderator for this forum. Welcome you, Madam. On behalf of the organizing committee members, I welcome all the participants who are going to learn something new in this forum. I welcome you all. I'm very delighted to welcome my co-organizing committee members, Dr. N. Manimegalai, Founding Director of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University. Welcome you, Madam. And Dr. Jennifer, Direct Chairperson and Head of Department of Journalism and Science Communication, who is one of the organizing member. Welcome you, ma'am. And I welcome all the dignitaries just for this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Now, I invite Dr. N. Manimegalai, Chair Social Sciences, Director and Head, Department of Women's Studies, Bharathidasan University, to deliver the introductory remarks of today's session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I would like to recognize all the invitees, particularly thanking them for the ready acceptance to be here to share their experience as women leaders in entrepreneurial field. My dear colleagues, Dr. Murugeshwari and the director of Mother Teresa University, Dr. Anna, and Dr. Jennifer, Madurai Kamaraj University, Dr. Meena, Madurai Mother Teresa University. Invitees who are the business leaders, same as Chitra Shivakumar, the managing partner, Timelix and Franchise Titan Company, Ms. Elizabeth, founding partner, Putran Associates, Ms. Hanjana Ramanan, executive director, Livia Polymer Products, Dr. Manjula, director, Vaitrana, Mumbai, Dr. Chitra Kanapati, managing director, Kadambavanam Ethnic Resort and Cultural Center, Dr. Subhatra, CEO, PBR Foods, Coimbatore, Ms. Patricia, proprietor, Vempuli Men's Saloon, and my dear invited participants across the country, students, staff members of the partnering universities. It is indeed a pleasure for me to extend a warm welcome joining with Dr. Meena for this second series of roundtable on women in leadership, and taking today the second series among the women entrepreneurs. And as Dr. Meena pointed out, there is still a need for women entrepreneurship, and that too when we are talking about leadership, it is again a challenge because it's very difficult to see the women emerging in leadership position, and the challenge is sustenance. So many a time they just emerge, short-lived and leave off. So that is a kind of issue or a challenge that is there, and that you can attribute very much being a women studies student or a person involved in women studies research. The whole lot of social barriers, socio-cultural barriers limit the women to sustain in any position, either due to the kind of expectation from the society that the women should equally concentrate and balance both career and home, or if there is any issue which occurs there in the leadership position, they will immediately attribute to their inefficiency and they even force them to withdraw. And so there is always a kind of a uncertainty whether any person who assumed charge as leader, in any field for that matter, and particularly so in the leadership position and in the business leadership position. And so if at all, like our invitees today, if they sustain, it is a great achievement in their lives. That's what I should quote unquote say. And so because of the given socio-cultural, political factors also, it's not just socio-cultural alone. So after all these, you have to contribute really to sustain. And so it is giving you a kind of an identity. You have your own identity and you will become independent. And particularly you will create employment opportunities to others. Instead of bossing over by others, you will boss over, or rather you will become a boss. And when you are in a leadership position, you would certainly gain skills to be gaining self-confidence and being role model to others, etc. And not only personal front, in the societal front also, or in the public perspective, you are contributing to the nation building in terms of both economic and social requirements. And one important aspect of entrepreneurship is that risk taking. And very often people are just women alone, even men shy away from taking risk and venture into the business and entrepreneurship. And you people stay there and remain as role model, and you are coming here to share your experience, means that is something to be applauded. And definitely you will become a role model for all the people who are present here. And also we will be sharing this to others, and this will definitely inspire others also. And in a way, if more and more women join the leadership position, that will also take care of addressing the issues of gender gap, because this is a top position. There are a number of other areas where you really lack the participation of women. And when it comes to the leadership position, that means you have crossed all the other hurdles. And if that is happening, then you have already created a scope for gender equality to be ensured. So being the domain of men for a long, now women are into this field, and it is really heartening to see more and more women joining, emerging, and increasing in number, and also sustaining, because there are three stages: the startup, the growing up, and sustenance. So always startup takes place, but whether they cross to growing up, and even if you cross growing up stage, whether you will go to sustenance stage is a question. And so being a person who have been involved in what I should say, the entrepreneurial research for a long, more than 3 decades, I have found either my own practical interaction with the women entrepreneurs. I'm not talking about the huge corporate entrepreneurs, but I'm talking about the micro and small scale entrepreneurs. I have observed that the concern of the women entrepreneurs often, including the 7 present here, on the social cause, or even the focus would be on social enterprises. You will have at least 25% to 30% of concern over social issues. So that will be reflected today, I think, with our panelists. And so they focus very much on women empowerment, protecting the environment, saving the energy, something like that. So if you survey the kind of entrepreneurs emerged in different fields, the women entrepreneurs, definitely these are the findings. And in preserving the culture, here we have a model, Madam Chitra Kanavati is very much on that. And creating employment for the women, particularly the destitute women. If you go through the case studies of entrepreneurs on the web available, this will reflect definitely that their concern is to capture the very rural women, the wage earning class, the destitute women, the single women, etc. So that is what I said. There will always be a focus on social cause as far as the women entrepreneurs are concerned. It may be present with men also, but increasingly observed there with the women entrepreneurs. And they also focus on innovative areas and non-conventional areas, particularly IT. As this is happening among the women who have crossed the education, technical education, etc. Otherwise, in the micro and small enterprises, it is still stereotyping, where you have what you call the food processing or the stereotype, the conventional areas, because they find it comfortable. They have that skill. They feel that they have the skill, and therefore often they confine to that. And it's difficult to find micro entrepreneurial activities happening there in unconventional areas. And so given these prospects, as far as the women entrepreneurs, there are equally challenges also, which our own entrepreneurs present here must have crossed, because nothing, it's a business cycle. You will have both ups and downs, and you won't be staying there in the ups for a long. Similarly, you won't be staying in the downs for a long. So it is a cycle you have to face, and one has to prepare for facing ups and downs in business. And so majority of the entrepreneurs, particularly women entrepreneurs, enter into business either pull or push factors, and sometimes it is taking over the family enterprises, or sometimes the spouse must have run that, and due to some kind of issue, she must have, being single woman, must have been forced to. So this also very much provides among these entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. But the scale of operation wise, I already told, very rare to see very large scale manufacturing scale, etc. It is less than 10%, I should say, of the 100 entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs itself is limited, women entrepreneurs still limited. And in that also, seeing women into manufacturing or even secondary processing has been much, much low. And the size of operation also, that's what the scale of operation is also very, very much very micro, tiny scale of operation. And they also focus on the areas of traditionally comfortable areas like textile, ready-made garments, food and food processing, etc. So sustaining and expansion also has been a very important areas where they struggle. And family support is very much, if these invitees could stay successfully and stabilizing themselves, means definitely the family support must have been there. And very often it is not happening. And if there is any loss, which I have witnessed among my own entrepreneurs whom I am associated with, the moment you make loss, immediately they will, entire family will say, why you want to, you just leave it off and come. What is there? You just stay back, I take care of the family. So this is the kind of a thing that is being imposed or expected from the. So for stabilizing, it is the lack of institutional support as well as family support. Institutional means bank. When a woman approach a bank, women approaching the bank is a big issue, and they will be looking down upon, or they may ask for the security from other members. Men also approach, but they are taken into integrity and confidence, but the same kind of expectation from the institutions, finance institutions, or any other support system do not really pay attention to that. And if our invitees have succeeded in that, it is because of their goodwill that they have made. So one important point which I want to just mention and leave is the leaky pipeline. Of course, the leader, it is not only for the women entrepreneurship, it is happening for the other set of women entrepreneurs also. Sorry, women leaders also. Last week we had vice chancellors, so they also expressed this, and we are going to have political leaders, leaders from media, leaders from bureaucrats. So everybody will agree to this, the leaky pipeline, the promotion, you forego the promotion, and that contributes to the lack of flow in the pipeline. And this is very much happening in the entrepreneurship field also. And the dual responsibility or lack of confidence by the self, or lack of confidence by others on you, and lack of hand-holding, particularly in the field of entrepreneurship, are all the major factors which are contributing to this. So it is in this background, we are now going to discuss how our invitees who sustained in their field and remaining as role models for young women entrepreneurs, and also for other women who are emerging in different field, and that this has been arranged as the second series of the roundtable. So with these words, I would like to again extend a warm welcome to all present here, and leave it to welcome Dr. Sugantha Ramamurthy, who is going to be the moderator, and who is a good friend of mine. We have been associated with the Regional Association for Women Studies, and also being economic students, both of us are associated with various areas. She is heading the Department of Economics, and has been involved in research related to women's issues, and particularly economic empowerment of women. And she had been in control of examination there in Marine University, and she was the director of Women's Studies there in Lady Do College, and later on organized capacity building program for women managers in higher education supported by UGC. So several such positions, and she's continuously engaged in research. So in that perspective, I think Dr. Sugantha would be the right person to do the moderation, to serve as a moderator here. And I welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of all of us, and over to you now to conduct the session, and you can plan accordingly the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mani Meghlai.
Yeah, you are muted. Dr. Sugantha, please.
Oh, yeah.
Unmute and speak.
Yeah. So at the outset, I would like to congratulate Bharatdasan University, Mother Teresa University, Madre Kamaraj University to get together and organize this so very important discussion, and invite people from such different fields. I think that is the crux of this entire workshop today, that we have people from varied fields, and that's going to make the theme of this day extremely exciting and interesting. By and large, we see that women are in the informal sector, and then in the formal sector, in the government sector, like that. But then women in leadership. Now, this is a context that seems to be largely questionable, as Mani said, that, it's a big challenge and all that. But I would like to start off with a different tone altogether, in the sense that women have, shall I say, God has designed women very differently from men, right? Maybe as a joke also, people say that, he first brought out Adam, and then he corrected the mistakes and brought women who are much more sophisticated, their metaphysical anatomy, the body is so much more, shall I say, tuned to multitasking. We are able to do different kinds of jobs. Our kind of intelligence is pretty different from that of men. If the men have, just a quote, if men have 4 GB, we have 128 GBs. Our IQ levels, or I mean, I'm not being partial, I'm talking about this in terms of, what shall I say, ancient wisdom as well as the present context. Okay, now why I'm saying this is the physical strength. We always assume that physically we are weak, but men have, yes, more stamina, but friends, women have more endurance. Even our bulletproof jackets are made out of the silk, and silk wool has more endurance, and women are, compared to silk, right? So men, right from when we all got together, men used to do hunting, come and sit, hunt, come and relax. But women continuously work, intellectual work, physical work, caring work, again, intellectual work. So women have been, from centuries and ages, have been tuned to doing this kind of work. So we have certain, when we talk our biology, we have not only what we call as in our own bodies, we have very important hormones, right? Along with women's hormones, I don't want to list out, we also have partially androgen, the men's hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and men's hormones. And therefore, our women hormone till around 35, 40, 45, it's very strong. But after 40, 45, our men's hormone mingles because we reach menopause, and therefore the women become stronger. Right now, the social anthropologists in around the world, okay, have found or have researched, done long researches, and have found that women are definitely going to govern the world. Women leaders are going to take, very subtly, women are taking up the leadership, right? And at not only home level or their own level, city levels, their work levels, as entrepreneurs, but overall governance of the world. Mark my words, let me assure you that women are going to be leaders of different countries by 2040 or 2050. So you can be rest assured that you all are going to contribute amazingly to this world. Women after their 40s, they're generally called the crone. Women have 3 phases: the maiden stage, the mother stage, and after 40, 45, depending a little here and there. It's called the crone. She's called the crone. Who's the crone? The crone is a woman who all her inner energy, her strength, the estrogen, the progesterone, the third eye, which is so strong for a woman. When a man looks at a woman, he just sees her body. But when a woman looks at another person, she sees the face, the head, the eyes, the hair, the lips, the body, the leg, the hand. She is doing QR scanning. So that is the kind of power women have. So this crone woman, because of all her hormones getting balanced, she is becoming her ojas, or the inner energy is so strong, becomes so strong and spiritual that her tejas becomes very strong, and she becomes the leader. We've seen, I think many of us would have seen the movie Bahubali, in which the Raja Mata, the husband is there, the sons are there, but Raja Mata rules. Similarly, in many tribes, this happened here from ancient times. In tribes, women, these older women lead after 40. So women are going to come back in a big way. They're already back. In 20 odd years, it's going to happen in a big way. So welcome to this new world where all of you are going to lead. And already you have started, because women leaders are women entrepreneurs, where they make their mark in an amazing manner. So how are we going to have today's, with this note, I would like to invite all of you, all the leaders today who are going to participate and share your thoughts. I would like to personally welcome Chitra Shivkumar, Manjula, Chitra Ganapati, Elizabeth, Sanjana, Shubhatra, and Patricia. So how I think we will be doing it is that I will invite each one of you to just share your experience in whatever area that you're working. Then we will have questioning session. So I would like to, first of all, since Sanjana is on the screen, may I invite Sanjana to share in 5 minutes your views, because we like to also have a lot of interaction. Right. So over to Sanjana.
Good evening, everyone. It is truly a privilege to be here to share a roundtable, albeit a virtual one, with so many other esteemed women, much more experienced than I am. So I certainly feel privileged to be here. A quick introduction about myself. So I know my official designation says director at Livia Polymer Products Private Limited. But I feel like my experience is unique in that I was born into what could be counted as a business family. My father is a first generation entrepreneur. He started the company in the year 1989. So the company is pretty established as far as it goes. And my father being a first generation entrepreneur, at home, me and my brother, we were always exposed to this different world that existed outside of home and outside of the school. Even though we may not have understood it much, or we didn't really participate in it, we were always aware of its existence. And my family is a big believer in giving everyone the tools that they need to make the choices for themselves, regardless of gender or any other constraints. So falling into the family business was kind of a natural choice for me. It was not something that I spent a lot of time deliberating or debating. It seemed like a natural transition. But when I entered the business, I found myself, it was like entering a space where everything is in its place and there's a place for everything. So you start wondering how it is you're going to add value in such a space. It's one thing to have the right education, to have the right skills and the right knowledge, but to put them to use in a productive way is a different thing altogether. And I think on some level, that is the thing that keeps us up at night, all of us. How do we add value? How do we, quote unquote, make our mark? So when I came into the business, I realized that I was coming into a very, very established space that had a set of rules, a set of, that had well laid out boundaries. It was functioning like a well-oiled machine. So I had two choices. I could either simply fall in line, find a small space for myself, or I could use the benefit of a younger perspective, a different perspective, growing up in a different world, and shake things up a little bit, do something a little different. Which is why when I joined the business, I expanded the product line of the existing business itself, and I started my own line of baby care products. It started off from a simple feeding bottle. I was technically just looking to see how can I grow the business in a different way, in a way that hasn't really been done before, and would also be different from what we have, and at the same time would bring in value. to the company, because ultimately that's what it's all about. So I discovered that there was a new material that had actually, a new plastic that had been launched in the world specifically for use in feeding bottles. It was launched in the year 2015. It received Government of India approval in only at the end of 2015, beginning of 2016. So in the beginning of 2016, when I heard about this product, something sparked my curiosity, I guess, because our existing business, we are the single largest plastic processing unit in the country. My father brought the PET technology to India from Japan in the late 80s. We were, I think, the second company in the country to set up a PET processing plant, a business. So the existing skills were there. We had the expertise, the processing expertise. So I guess it just sparked my curiosity. And the more I learned about the material, the more I realized that there was a huge lacuna in the market for baby products itself, and that this making baby feeding bottles and baby products with this particular plastic would actually add tremendous value to the consumer in terms of the benefits offered, the features that you find, and not just for the consumer, as in the caregiver, be it the mother, the father, the other people taking care of babies, but to the babies themselves. So I started off and spent a whole year doing research. How can I add value to a caregiver? How can I add value to the babies themselves? Because they're the ones ultimately experiencing the product. So after a year-long gestation period, typically gestation periods are a lot shorter, especially if you're leveraging on existing skills. But honestly, the year-long period was my doing, because my thought was, A, I need to add value, and B, there's no point in being just another plus one, I'm also there kind of player in the market. I didn't want to be part of a market if I wasn't adding more value than what people are getting currently. After a year-long research and development period, the baby care products were finally launched in the year 2017. And actually launching the product, taking it to the market, getting it online, those were all tremendous challenges within themselves, because, well, as we all know, as much as we claim to like new things, we don't really want new things. We want things that we know. We want things that we're comfortable with. We want the same old things that bring us comfort. Right? Right from the brand of toothpaste that we use, to the kind of toothbrush that we buy, to the food that we eat, nobody wants anything new, regardless of how much they say, yes, I want new things. So getting a consumer, and I'm talking about baby products here, there's an added level of protection, or there's an added level of extreme resistance when it comes to switching from what you already think works for your baby. Even if someone comes and tells you, well, you know, this is doing all the things that your current product isn't doing, here are all the benefits, people are always averse to switch. So I think that was the biggest challenge I faced and continue to face, honestly, in the market, is how do you communicate the product value to the customer and actually get them to buy, which has been our biggest struggle and continues to be as well. Aside from this, the pandemic played its own part in all of it, like it did for everyone else. I mean, launching in 2017 and barely just kind of getting out into the market, and a pandemic hitting you in 2020 is not the best deal for any kind of product, especially for a product that is kind of considered non-essential in the grand scheme of things. If you already have a feeding bottle, the middle of a pandemic is not the time you're going to start looking for new brands and try to shop around. At that point, it's more about let me get what I want and just keep moving on. I have no time or energy to look up things and research things. But I like to think that we pull through reasonably well, and I think that's due in large part to I'm just really stubborn, and I kind of like to dig my feet and keep moving on, which I think as women in business is something. I think I think everyone else on the panel will also agree is something you just need to have. You have to be twice as stubborn as everyone else around you, because that's the only way things get done.
What strategy did you adopt to penetrate into the market, especially in such difficult times?
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you that this is the strategy. We went from point A to point B to point C, and it was a line and it was all planned out. But unfortunately, business doesn't work that way, right? We had to pivot a lot. But I think the main strategy that we follow is education. I've learned that if you respect the consumer, if you treat them as smart, intelligent people, give them the due respect and go from a place of education rather than an aggressive, I know what's better, I know what's good for you, I know what's best for you position, we always received better feedback. So the education started right from educating my own colleagues and team members, all the way down to creating informative text templates, pamphlets across the board, online, offline, through our distribution channels, educating the distributor and then further educating the retailer. So that kind of the value proposition of your product, communicating it all the way to the very end is a big learning for me. Because ultimately that's what's important. If the value proposition of your product is not communicated to the very end, you rarely get any sale or conversion. Nobody will actually pick up your product and use it, especially if you're confident that if somebody comes to you and they take what you're offering, be it a product or a service, and you're confident that you can add value to their life and they'll come back to you, then your biggest challenge becomes just getting them to take a chance on you. Chance on your product, chance on your service. So that is the strategy.
Something on your personal side, because women have to always balance the personal with the professional.
Here's the thing, right? So whenever I thought about this, especially sitting at a round table with much more experienced women, I used to think to myself, you know what? I'm 28. I'm unmarried. I don't have responsibilities. I don't have the quote unquote technical responsibilities that come with being a woman who runs your own house and who has other responsibilities, be it children or anything else. I always thought maybe I'll be above that. But at 28, I can say that I'm not. I am 28, unattached, living with my parents, and still find that there are other aspects of my life that I do need to balance, being a woman. And more than anything else, I find myself doing that in the workplace. I realized that regardless of how progressive I personally may be or my family may be, the people that I work with and the people that I encounter are not necessarily that progressive. So be it taking me seriously or treating me fairly, those are some things I've had to kind of adjust to and accommodate to. And I think we've all done it at some point as women. We temper our language, we temper our speech, we kind of school the way we behave to be taken a little more seriously, to be taken, to be treated fairly. So I think that is still, I have no answers. I'm still learning as I go along. I don't see myself finding the answers. But yeah, I think I've had to learn to be a lot more aggressive and a lot more forthcoming, be pushing, be it at home or be it at work.
Sanjana, somebody wants to know the name of your product, your company. And
Right, the name of the company is Livia Polymer Products Private Limited, and the brand of baby care products is called Nino. Nino, which is Spanish for little boy or little kid.
Thank you, Sanjana. We'll be coming back to you again. Now, I would like to go next to Elizabeth Putran. She's also a different kind of a career she has. No, I would like her to tell it instead of me reading out her biodata. So, an attorney with different kinds of activities. So I'll hand it over to Elizabeth to share from her perspective what she's doing and how she's doing. Elizabeth, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Great to be here, and thanks for the invite. So I don't think I have a story like Sanjana does, because I am, if you call it a first lawyer in my family. So I'm someone who specialized, actually I finished out 26 years ago, straight went into practicing of IP. Those days when I would tell people IP, they would say internet protocol, but no, it's intellectual property rights. So what happened was I used to work with a law firm, get a very good salary. I worked there for about 9 years, and something happened and I left because my boss, who was my mentor, passed away, and I couldn't work anymore there because it was just, as a woman, I would say, I don't know if it's a negative thing, but emotionally, I was very disturbed. I left my job. I'm just talking to you about my journey as a woman entrepreneur because I've never expected to be one, to be very honest. And I left my job 2 weeks into it. I'm sure my family must have been extremely upset with seeing me at home all the time. I just decided to pack my bags and go and search for a place to rent without any idea what I was looking for. And I actually found a place which I couldn't afford. And I told my landlord, I can't afford this. So he looked at me and he said, I know you can only pay me less than like 30% of what he would have got otherwise. But he told me, I see a fire in your belly. I looked at him and I said, I can see no fire here. If at all, it's going to be hunger because I have no savings. So he said, no, go ahead, take the place. And that's how I started my journey. So I've been practicing lawyer, just specializing in intellectual property for the past 26 years. But this firm, I set up the firm Putran and Associates 18 years ago. It was in 2004. When I chose the name, a lot of people looked at me like this and said, why don't you have Elizabeth and Associates, maybe? So Putran happens to be my surname. So I picked up from there and I continued. And the beauty of this journey is we have come a long way. When we started the office, I used to be one person, just one. And I had a 70-year-old office boy, as they call it, because I couldn't afford anybody else. I used to go to work at 7:30 in the morning so that I could clean the place because I couldn't afford another person to get into clean because it was just my brains at work there and nothing else. I had zero clients. I had nothing. So when you ask me about a challenge of being a woman entrepreneur, I'm not sure it would have been the same for whether it's a man or a woman. But I've had a few not so nice experiences when people ask me. I've had an instance where we work a lot with foreign associates because we register their brands or we register our clients' brands or we do their patenting abroad. And I will not mention the country here, but there was a senior partner who came to my office. It was a small little office, came when we started and walked in, looked at me. He was a gentleman, all of 65. And I remember him saying, okay, so where is your senior partner? So you're talking about close to 19 years ago. I said, I'm the senior partner. He said, yeah, but where's your father? Where's your husband? Who set up the business? And those were the days, even then, even now we have few women in IP, but women who had set up their own law firms, I don't think we were even a handful. So those were the days that I'm talking about. It's been a huge struggle. Today, we have 4 offices. And the beauty of it, when I'm sitting here, I actually have no bias towards men because they have been a strong support in my journey, be it my father, my husband, my brothers, my friends, whoever, including my clients. But we have quite I think about close to 25 plus lawyers, and all the lawyers are women. Now, it's not that I'm intentional, I'm biased against anybody, but it just so, and all these women have been, most of them have been with us from the start of the journey. If you ask me why, I think, when I started this off, my younger daughter was just 3 years old. So I know how difficult, unlike what Sanjana just mentioned, it was a horrible journey initially because I'm trying to prove to everyone. Like Dr. Sugandha said, it's not starting up, it's sustaining. And I can assure you that journey, the difficult times were there, but I've just learned to say, I will get up 1 hour earlier, I'll sleep 1 hour later and try and balance. But the beautiful thing is I had a good support system in terms of problems were my own. Nobody was going to solve my problems for me. But just to look back and think today that I had everybody there not looking at me and saying that you can't do it. Everyone said you can. You've set your mind to it, just do it. So that's my journey over the years. And I've also learned to live with the fact that some people cannot even today accept the fact that when people talk about us, our firm, people always ask me, who's the man in there? I've had someone ask me, I said, there's no man. There's just women, a woman, and continues to be. And even the recent employments that we did in the office, be it our patent engineers or the lawyers, seem to be women. So maybe it's my way of giving back. And I know how difficult it is as a woman. So we have consistently in our firm been strong supporters to try and help. We have not, we do help our clients, but in terms of the employment, we look at helping women because their needs are very different. Their challenges are extremely tough during certain periods of their life. But I keep telling everyone it's just a passing phase. Everything is not going to be constant. Dr. Sugandha said, after you are 40 plus, things change. The women in my office start from 20s. So you can imagine, and we never have anyone leave us and go. We've never had, other than for unfortunately marriage, children, or displacement due to husband's jobs, but they join our other offices. So that's been our journey. And that's the story of me as an entrepreneur, if you would like to call me that. But yeah, that's who we are.
Thank you, Chitra. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. That was a very exciting journey, although very challenging as well. How did you manage to overcome these challenges?
The challenges in terms
when you
of
started your firm, and then you said your baby was small, and then you wanted to have women with you as well. Why that, all that? How and why of all that?
Why? Because I went through it. I know how difficult it was. So I wanted to help somebody else who's going through the journey. So we do have a lot of things that are women friendly in our organization in terms of getting women back to work. We allow them and to do flexible timings. We do a lot of things for them, which ideally, sometimes I tell myself it's not a good idea. We need to treat everyone the same. But in my office, because it's just women, we just treat everybody the same. So whether you are a 25-year-old young mother or you are someone in your late 40s, it doesn't matter. If your requirement is that it's not a baby, it's a parent or it's a husband. So overcoming these obstacles is because I have a fantastic team in my office of very strong women who are there. I think building a good team, being very in our profession, it's very critical that we are ethical about our practices. And I've had my first few clients when it was just me in the office are people who are recommended by the government authorities we report to, because they said that our work was good. So those are the things that we all go by. So overcoming a challenge, yes, it has been, it continues to be. It's different challenges. But I can let you into a secret now. After about 16 years of doing my own thing, one morning the tables turn sometimes. My husband wakes up in the morning and he says, I've had enough of corporate life. I looked at him and said, now it's your turn. Follow your journey. Here I will, you had no problem when I woke up and I said, I don't want to work anymore. I want to do something of my own. So today we find that women, if once they establish and they are able to sustain something, they can be the support system for the rest of their family. So yeah, if that answers your question.
One more. Why did you choose to start a firm of your own instead of, going and joining a firm? That would have been a much more, you would have been in a comfort zone rather than initially finding clients. All that would have been a pretty much challenging task. So, but why did you make that choice, career choice?
So the reason was, it's very simple. I promised my ex-boss I would not join anywhere. And here I was sticking to whatever I promised. And those days, here there were very few people with close to 10 years of experience in IP. I had offers from all the large IP firms asking to head their respective offices. But the issue is when you go in at that senior position, you're expected to take your clients along with you. And that was something for me was not ethically right. Even today, I do not do that. I do not believe in, if our work speaks for itself, we welcome clients into our area. So starting it was very difficult, but I think I liked it. I think I like the challenge. And today I cannot think of working for anybody else. If you ask me, I can help out someone, but I could never be an employee anymore. So I think that step of moving out of my comfort zone, I think it's in my DNA. So maybe that's what worked.
So these are the new leaders of the country.
Thank you so much.
Like Elizabeth, Young, Sanjana. Thank you, Elizabeth. That was real motivation for all our students and other participants who are there. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Chitra Shivakumar, who's, should I say that? Okay, who's with Timelink. She's also in watches, jewelry and all that. So I would like to invite, instead of myself saying it, I'd like to invite Chitra Shivakumar to share. Is she here? There?
Yep.
Yeah. Chitra to share her life story, both professional and personal.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Sukanta. Let me first thank Dr. Mani Megale for inviting, and also thank the 3 universities for organizing such a program. It's definitely a very relevant topic in today's context. And if the audience are the students, I think it's really a very relevant topic for them. So coming quickly into what we are talking about for today, let me give you a very short introduction about myself. When I was growing up, or when I was in school or college, my belief was that I would follow my father, be a bureaucrat, get into the IAS, if not, get into research, and I was very strong about it. I had my path rolled out, and I'm going to be doing zoology, I'm going to have a backup, I'm going to do human genetics, and I made sure that I actually did my master's in human genetics, and all this was clear. But my strength I've seen is my ability to take up when something new comes in front of me. I'm not someone, like you said, I have faced challenges. I probably belong to some of the families who are like what Sanjana said, we're all privileged. We've had good education, we've got a good family, we've got grandparents, we've got a legacy behind with us. So there are no challenges per se. But then I found that while growing up, we're a family of 3 sisters. My father or mother didn't treat us differently as a girl, but obviously you hear stories around. But yet, unlike my sisters, I don't think I ever went and played with a doll. Though there were dolls at home, I've never played with a doll. I would rather do something else. My sister would take a doll or they will have a chopper, but probably I've always been someone who wanted to have a career. So I was very clear I have to lead a career. So it's just a direct for me. I'm going to be in a career. I'm going to be a professional. I think that was very clear cut in my thoughts. And for reasons, I would say the entrepreneurial journey just happened. I got married to an entrepreneur. Very unique in the sense I married a first generation entrepreneur, yet he's part of a family business. I mean, he was along with his uncles. So invariably, the family then became businesses. And for reasons, they said, since I wanted to work right in the beginning, they said, okay, we will start one business only for the women. So they initiated one. So what was interesting is there are 4 women in it, all 4 different generations put together, including my mother-in-law and aunt, me and his niece, and all of them put together. It was a small business, C&F. And it was interesting because it was, there is home and then there is the business. I mean, it's close by, you're not traveling, you're doing something. And after a period, it happened. The business was growing, things were happening. And then a new opportunity came up that was for the family. As a family, they started this thing, a company called Timelinks. Timelinks is one of India's leading franchisees with Titan Company Limited. So we have multiple showrooms. Okay, they started with one showroom. It's for watches, and we started at Ananagar. So they only mentioned it was a family business. Since you stay close by, can you spend 1 hour a day there? So I said 1 hour is fine, no issues. And I started going there for 1 hour. And similar to what Elizabeth said, I think support system makes a lot of difference. If you can develop a wonderful support system with family, friends, then it's very easy for any woman to be in business or any career per se. And so this one business over a period, in fact, was a family business. None of the family members would come. I was the only one handling it. It was completely my independent decisions being taken. The company thought I'm the only person, only in books somebody else would be signing, but I was the only representative. And very nice of the family that over a period, the entire thing was given to me. And from one showroom, I have actually taken it to over a dozen showrooms. And it's now 25 years for this company, I mean, for this part of the business. And for me, if you ask me if there are any challenges in the business, initially, yes, could have been very funny challenges that would have happened. Like you're young at that age, you were in a showroom, and then all the girls are young. We had one cashier who was an elder gentleman. So when people used to come in, they would go to him, not thinking that I would be the decision maker. So I used to enjoy that fun. I said, okay, come, you do all that. I'm not going to be part of it because they're going to ask discount. So you go ask him if he has the ability, let him do it. So these were little small, interesting challenges because it's a mental, social condition that men are decision makers. I've enjoyed. I have never felt that the world says men are different, women are different. I believed it's the same. I have not, I would say none of us on the panel here, most of us at least in the panel, or most of the students who are listening, are not facing any difficulty of education. We don't find any challenge of getting admission to school, getting admission to college. When we're fighting with men or boys equally to them, then I think at work also we're equal to them. It's just that it's our mind, our mindset where we're trying to feel a little inferior or not confident. So that is what is holding back some women. Or it could be, yes, I have a family, then it's a decision to take. I have a child to take care. Then it's your, your ability to handle that situation. So I have not found any peculiar reasons. I have actually used being a woman as a positive way. I found initial years, 25 years ago, when as a lady franchisee, I used to go for meetings, there'll be all men there. And the brand Titan actually found it that they could use me to showcase me to the others. And they found that many other families then started bringing the women in. Many other women franchisees started coming in. We are probably 2 or 3 in those years, 4, 5. But today you will find some 20, 30% of women coming into it. So they have used my recordings. Like when I say, okay, come be a franchisee, they've used. So I think it's been more motivating. I have found people supporting me being a woman. That's how I look at things. I've used it more positively in this manner. Like I said, it was a family business. There were things running, there were things in place. I don't have to run for everything. Yet, if when I'm starting something new, say I want to understand what it is about the labor law, I used to tell my HR, you don't explain everything to me. Can you call that person over? So the person would come, and I will sit with the person from the government and I'll ask my questions. So I've used it in a more positive, I had the, I have a capability. I mean, I can learn. It's not that I had to run to some place, but then I have the family support for which people would come, and I've made it more convenient to think I'm going to learn and I'm going to be independent. So, and that's how things are going. And today I'm running the business, and I never say I'm the only one running. I always say it's part of a group of people. My husband also is a part of it, though I take my own decisions, but we're doing it together. I look at it as a organization. I find my company is a individual, and that is how I view the whole thing. And I feel whether it's my family or whether it's my son, they've all supported me so that I could grow in my business. Yes, Dr. Sukanda.
Yes, Chitra, that was your highlight is, of course, that you and your husband jointly worked at it. So it wasn't that you had to face the challenges within the family, but probably the other kind of entrepreneurial challenges. Since you've got quite a bit of experience, what I request you to say is, what advice would you like to give to young entrepreneurs so that they can sustain in business leadership?
I'll give you one advice, which I feel at this age is very, very, very important. If I had that, I would have been better off. And as universities and colleges, you can really do a lot about it. It's about teaching basics of finance to everyone. It is a must. Everyone should know. It's not just for BCom students. All of us need to know banking. We need to know basics of finance. What is income? What is expense? How to grow money? There are various ways to grow your money. What is insurance? These are things, if it is taught to everyone right from school. Money is not a bad word. Money is a beautiful word. Just as we say Vidya is important, I think this is equally important. And if as colleges, if you can start this off for everyone, I think that is one advice I want to tell everyone. As girls, they all think, hey, my father will take care, my mother will take care, my grandfather will take care. I think that would not, it's not right. I was lucky because the moment I got married, my husband said, yes, you're going to open your own account. We will have a joint account, but you will have your separate account. You will have your own locker. You will immediately go to the auditor. You set up your own thing. At that time, I didn't know. But if I had I felt that was something I should have known. It's nice to learn from till this age, I have to learn. Not that I know, but I felt this is something all of us should learn. Everyone should learn. The second advice that I would tell everyone is, please go play a game. You play a sport, get dirty, get onto the mud, dirty yourself, because it teaches you a lot of challenges in life that, if you fall, you get up. I think this is something all of them, I realize that's very, very important, especially team game. The team game is so different than playing an individual. And most of us, at least girls, sit inside. Please go out and do something. Or as colleges, please make them play. That's what I have an advice to the college and to students. Please do it. It makes them not just healthy, but they make them mentally healthy. It's not physical health. It's their mental health. Games grow mental health also. Yes, Dr. Supranta.
Chitra, that was a wonderful piece of advice, not only for the youngsters, but also for academicians to somewhere incorporate and include
Yes,
physical games as well as financial knowledge, financial inclusion. Kind of something on that would be very useful for girls and women. And we can take it also to other women, not to necessarily only students.
Yes, ma'am, for everyone.
Yeah, so that's how to manage. Somebody has given says learn to manage money in a good advice, Chitra madam. Yeah, so
Thank
somebody
you.
is advising, appreciating your advice as well. So
Thank
Chitra, that was a real good piece of thoughts that you have put across. We'll get back to you again. Thank you, Chitra, for the
Welcome.
present. May I now invite Shubhadra to share her perspectives on what she did with her PVR foods. Subhadra, are you there?
Yeah. Very
Right.
good afternoon, ma'am. Very happy to join this panel today. Really, it is giving me a lot of energy from all of you, listening to every one of you. So beautifully, every one of you is presenting. So ours is all about foods, PVR foods. We are into the manufacturing of value-added millet products. I just kept all my products ready-made to show you because that will make you to understand better about what I'm doing. This is all the products which I keep here. You can see maybe because of this, the camera, it may be the other way, the letters, but you can just have an idea of what the products are. There are multiple products which are all of millet based. So I think at least some 70 different variants which are basically from millets. That is millet idli dosa batters, millet in the form of atta flours, and millets in the form of instant dosa mixes, millet as a South Indian dish called puttu podi. All these kind of different items we are producing here. So this is about the firm, but basically the journey of how I got into this is it's a small story which I could add up in a post lunch session. So basically I was a MTech person. I have done my image processing and I served across the institutions as a professor, as an academician, and lastly I served in an institute as a vice principal also. But then every time I tell my students, I see students with multiple calibers. They not just for engineering or something. Many students, when I talk to them, they might be doing a lot of organizing things well. They might be doing different other calibers, and they say, "Ma'am, because my father wished that I have to be an engineer, I joined for this course. But really, I don't like it." Something and all they used to say. And some students, they'll be telling like, ma'am, and I'm just joined, but I don't have an idea of what I'm going to do next and all. So many students will be telling there are so many colleges and how we are going to get a job after our education. I'm saying that this is at least 8 to 10 years before. So that time it was, I think at least 580 colleges were there in Tamil Nadu alone. So imagine the number of students from every college. That time I used to advise that why don't you think, without getting a job in that way, why don't you think in this way that you can become a job providers rather than job seekers? So when I keep on advising in this way, I think, what am I doing? I'm also working for some college as a kind of an employee. Why not I try this first? So why not I take it up? This was in my mind for a longer period because at least some 15-16 years I used to think about it, and my husband was working for some government thing, and he was into the industries department also. I used to visit with him along with him in the weekends for some industries, and my mind was totally looking for some venturing of products. And fitness was one thing which I always love, as ma'am was mentioning, Chitra ma'am. Really, being a game person, you have to really play. I also take it as a very very important note to every one of you, that definitely we have to keep ourselves fit. The fitness comes with playing, and definitely it helps your physique as well as on the mental framing up. So that is one thing. That all that made me to look out for the fitness and the ancient grains, these millets. These are all were some kind of a connectivity. It made me to look out for venturing on millets. So I thought, like, making a millet, making a millet based food will be a kind of a challenge, because if you think of a millet, I would say in Tamil, it is ragi, kambu, samai, tinai, varagu, kudravali. So in English we say finger millet, kodu millet, foxtail, barnyard, sorghum is another form of millet. All these millet grains we are not using much, and it has so much of goodness. And every hospital, if you go, we are now living in Coimbatore. I believe 20 years back we shifted here. So those days I used to see Coimbatore city with full of trees, with beautiful, educational institutions across, and it will be like such a different climatic conditions with temperature and all. Now, if you see, in every 1 kilometer we see one hospital. And it was a hub of schools and colleges, now has become a hub of hospitals. What is the cause? It's because of basically on food is also a kind of understanding which I could observe. So I wanted to get into a venturing where all these points can be connected. I can give some employment for people, I can try on my own venturing, give a good food to the society. These points made me to resign my job. When I was a vice principal in a college in 2016, I just went for doing my R&D, because I was into image processing as my specialization. How could I bring a food, and how many of you will believe and have my food? So I just went to CFTRI, Central Food Research Institute in Mysuru, and Indian Institute of Millets, and Tanjavur, IFPT, and a lot more institutions I visited for looking on processing of millets. And I wanted to try, how these millets can be made into readily available, because this is something, how to use it itself is a problem. Even now, some of my clients, if I say, have you used millets? They will say, ma'am, we have bought the millet grains, we have kept it on our kitchen. But after 2-3 months, when I saw, I just forgot, and I saw then it was all with all bugs and all, I couldn't use it. They didn't even know how to use it, first of all. If they cook it, they say, it's like porridge. So how can I eat it just as a porridge? So it should be something spicy, tasty. Then only we can have. It's like a patient food. I'm thinking, how can I use it? These were the kind of things which made me to think that the gap between the customer's requirement and what can be done. So that gap, I thought I can fill it up by bringing them as a ready-made instant mixes and instant batter and all that. So that's how we got into this. And I was sitting with CFTRI like a student after getting from this profession, like a half microbiologist. I was with, institutions where I could do the kind of, testing on the nutrient values to bring a product which can make a better benefit of value addition, not just as a kind of a product as a commercial. Can we bring the similar kind of a taste and everything in our commercial product also? So all the trial, being a first generation entrepreneur, my principal scientist over there who was guiding me was telling me, ma'am, it looks very difficult if you can go with the wet segment, because I was more interested on the wet batter formation. Since it is bringing a very good nutrients, it is bringing 90% of retention of the nutrients when you have a value addition. So he was telling, why don't you go with the dry flour items, because it has a longer shelf life, and you can try that, because you can produce it for 2-3 days initially and go for all marketing and sales, because selling business, when you take the sales is the primary part. Your product may be good, you can bring a very good things, but how you are going to place your product in the market, how you are going to sell it for the people, how you make a branding of your product is something is a very challenging part. So go for a higher shelf life product so that you can concentrate more on the sales and other things. But then my mind was focusing on why not the batter, because it was not available in pan India from exclusive every flavors of millet. There was no such batter. People were making from rice and everything, but millets there were no one. So I just wanted to try that. That's how I was into millet batter is my prime and hero product. So the beginning days, I remember when I made the product with all packaging beautifully, everything we have done. When I've been to the stores, along with my marketing team, I used to think, because being that first generation, we have that enthusiasm getting in every single segment. So I went along with my marketing people, though they were there. I was also with them, so just wanted to see how response to our new product and all. So they were, and the shopkeeper was not even turning up on our side. Our marketing team, three of our two girls and one boy were standing, and this person not even turning. He was only looking into all the customers and business. So I was literally thinking, oh my God, when I was a principal over there in front of my room, there were so many people, my HOD, my staff, my students, everybody used to wait for doing some kind of a work. I'm standing in front of a shop where nobody is turning up. To that kind of that mental strength was getting tested that time. But still, I know that this has to be crossed. And seeing my finger millet batter, which is in little brownish color, they were giving a comment. What is this? In Tamil Nadu, people used to say, மல்லிகை பூ மாதிரி இட்லி வரணும் வெள்ளை கலர்ல, நீங்க வந்து ராகில வந்து இப்படி brown கலர்ல கொடுக்குறீங்க. How this can be? How many of them will buy? இதெல்லாம் யார் வாங்குவாங்க? That kind of a comment we were getting it. Oh my God, that was all a very troublesome days. But we started with selling 50 packets. Now we are into at least 2.5 tons of packs, 2,500 packets per day we are selling across. Now we are setting up our unit in Hyderabad also. So that was a journey, and now even our batter is given for some of the famous hospitals in Hyderabad, Coimbatore, as a patient food also. So we are happy with the journey, giving employment for a lot of women with us, as Madam Elizabeth was mentioning. Having women with us gives a lot of strength. It's not like against biasing and all. Of course, there were a lot of men who played a greater role in terms of passing this journey. But at the work environment, I prefer to have a lot of women who are destitute women also there. Of course, few of the delivery and all happens with men only. But many, female who are very happy to work with us, and the journey is going very well. That is a simple and humble story of ours, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhatra. I'm just thinking, what made you want to do so much research? You said you went to Mysore, you went to Tanjavur.
Yes, ma'am.
Why? What made you do such intensive research?
Because bringing a product into the market, it should have a proper shelf life. Because I was thinking like more onto this batter making, where my presentation of the product is something in one way. How to bring a shelf life was the challenge, because millet, which undergoes a lot of fermentation very fast. So how can you increase the shelf life? One thing. Number two, it's not that, generally any millet or anything, if you grind it in your mixie, the RPM is very high. So it also, with metallic plates, it cuts it into powder and everything. So I thought, what other kind of a process can bring a value addition where the nutrient can be retained? So that was a challenge which I wanted to know. For that, I wanted to travel across. So anybody, whoever wants to get into some kind of a business, basically we have to get a knowledge on the product development and the product itself. Including the raw material or whatever it's so. So I wanted to make myself more knowledgeable on the product. That was the reason visiting to the institutions.
That was very interesting. But still, I'm like still thinking from image processing and things like that. You have completely shifted over to this product, foods,
Yes.
What made you, because you seem a very research oriented person, so why did you make such a big jump and leap towards a completely different product?
Ma'am, it's like, every time my mind was pricking that, I can see a lot of people are jobless. Why not? I can also create some job opportunity. And food was something which is passionate, which was in my mind for a longer while. So I thought if I'm getting into venture in future after some years, it should be food was my decision right from the age of 20. So then I thought, okay, let me get into this. That's how it is. Just to connect two different points. One is a good food for the society, because I even suffered with some hormonal problems. After my marriage, I had thyroid and all that. When my mother didn't have any such problems, when my grandmother didn't have any such problems, why I? So it was due to the food and the kind of food which we are taking, with all these kind of a pesticide fertilizers, which are totally. I'm not speaking about anything on organic kind. Organic is a different term, and I don't want to discuss on that. What kind of a food we take, and how much of medicines we are intaking, and what kind of a stress we are following. I mean, we are go through everything gives a lot of impact on our lifestyle. So I thought this, bringing a good food to the society would have a small contribution from my end. So that's the idea.
I think Subhadra has given us a lot of cues on how a successful entrepreneur could become successful and sustainable. I think she started off saying that the passion, one should have immense passion in what she wants to do, and you choose that, obviously you're going to only be successful, because millet was not something that you could make success out of so easily. As she said, idli color, it's not whitish enough for me to be attracted. So it was a challenge, but then she took it because she was passionate, and she had undergone her personal experience of little bit of health issues, and she wanted the passion for love for community, for humanity. So she's wanted to, what she has, a negative experience she had, she wanted to take it off and take it to the community to help the community also sustain. So these are some of the things that I think as a woman, where we are stronger, where we stand out, is because of these things, what Shubhadra has said. So as young girls and boys, if you are wanting to start off an entrepreneurial activity, some of the things, keep it in mind. Just don't see if it is a profitable business and you walk into it. It has to be more than that. It's not just money. It's something beyond and more than that. Shubhadra ma'am, anything on these lines?
Definitely, ma'am, because my father was a school HM. And when I said that, Nana, that I wanted to go for resigning my job and want to start a venture on this way, he was very shocked. He was not at all allowing me to do so, because I'm a first daughter of the family. I'm very close to my father. More than my husband, I used to tell my father's concern is very important. But, my father was standing against. He says, what you're doing is a mad thing. Don't do it. You will be getting into a lot of trouble, because at the age of, say 35 plus, how can you start a business and how it will be successful? And that too, this batter, my mother tongue is Telugu, and he was telling, how can I tell my relatives, like pindi rubutundi, kadagutundi, identa manchi paniya? Because we used to go see, look at the earlier profession. It was a different thing. I go in a very safest way and come back at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and have holidays at the weekend. It's not something I'm underlining and undercoating. It was a kind of a challenge which I faced, which was mentally disturbing me in the beginning, because I'm going against my father's wish also. And he's telling, if I have any problem also, I don't have a place to go and tell. Many days I remember, even my pillow only knows how much of pain I carried when my packets were not sold in the beginning days. I don't want to say to my husband also, because he may think that I also supported her unnecessarily, when her father itself was saying no, why should I, like that he might be thinking. That was a kind of thought process it will provoke, I was thinking. So I thought, okay, let me not reveal, let me not. So I was keeping it on my own way, and that days of crossing was extremely difficult for me. I don't know, with God's grace, somehow we crossed. My team was supportive. It was, I have to be more stronger. Then only I can bring my team to come along with me. So that was the kind of a trouble, because I wanted to explore and reveal all these part, the darker and shades also, because anybody who want to get into business, who are watching over the show, maybe young students, they may think, oh, everybody is saying a very rosy part, so getting in business is something very simple and easy. No, it won't be so. I know there are people who are with what you call, fortunate enough to have a better walkthrough, but I'm a person, I had a tougher time in my period. But definitely, if you are having that perseverance, if you are confident about what you are doing is right and ethical, definitely you can achieve it. I won't say that I've achieved something very great, but at least to some extent we can pass through, and definitely it will happen for sure. So when we are doing good, then we have to be more confident. That's how. And I have to mention one more thing. We received, totally I was not aware of any such big things where government is also giving supports and all that. And here in Coimbatore, this Tamil Nadu Agri University, TNAU, they have wanted to know that somebody is doing on millets, because in 2015 it was not much people are aware about in terms of millet as a food in commercial form. So that time they invited us, seeing our product, they were very surprised that somebody is doing something on millets also as a product and in a commercial form. And so they wanted to support us, and they said, like, why don't you join for a scheme here, which is for the RKVY Raftar, which is by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. So then I became an incubator over there, and I joined. And there were 2,800 projects in pan India. It was presented across. We are very glad and happy to mention that we were the topper in it, and we received a grant of 23 lakhs by the central government. Imagine, when you are into such a tougher period and you are sustaining, and a grant of 23 lakhs is a very big money, which is paid. Which is a grant. Imagine, it is not even a loan. Grant is a gift for you. So of course the money has to be spent for your business development. You will be undergoing auditing of usage of money, everything. But definitely it was a big support. It was a great recognition. It comes. I believe that if you are very confident about what you are doing and you are good enough and ethical, definitely your path will be opening for you automatically somehow. So that's how we received this grant. It has opened up a lot of avenues to me. And now we are getting into Hyderabad, making another new franchisee of our plant, is just because all these kind of awards and the recognitions of this kind of, people around the government, many things are there. So that's how, I just wanted to mention all these in a humble way, that we have a trouble, we will be getting trouble, but definitely you have to pass through. Then automatically some kind of a help will come for you. This is my real experience.
Shubhadra, that was a really, really grounded sharing. And you've come out not only the, as I said, rosy side, Matulla, it has to also have some of the hard realities we should know. But you can sustain. You can still sustain if you have the passion and the will.
We have to.
So congratulations for this so much of recognition that you've got by Tamil Nadu government, and also by MSME, was that?
No, ma'am, it was a central government, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare.
Okay. Okay.
We were the first cohort team in which from Tamil Nadu cadre around 7 or 8 members were selected. In that we were given a highest grant, which was a real surprise to me. That was just before that pandemic situation.
Oh.
I was presenting it across with so many panels, and there were IAS officers, the people tried on taking our products. They were testing it. They were checking out. The idea of their selection was based on how far the nutrition of the product is being retained when product from the farm to the shelf. how much of the nutrient can be retained. Generally, when you do this value addition, loss of nutrition happens. So in our thing, we could retain the nutrition. It was an innovative form where I made a lot of corrections on my machineries, like, the grinders in which I changed the RPM of the machine. It was not everything is ready-made. I was blessed to be living at Coimbatore, which is a fabricational place. Whatever you think as an engineer, as a part, you can bring it in life. You can give a design and they will help you to get a machine as such. So that's how my learning from these institutions, this R&D and everything, it helped me to make my own machines on the processing. So that invention of some corrections on the existing machines, we made it, we could bring that output in a higher nutrient way. So that was one thing which helped us to reach such a big grants.
So, Subhadra, I'm really thoroughly surprised. So technically, ethically, ethics, even Elizabeth was talking, you have to work ethically, but you put in innovation, invention, a lot of technical aspects as well. So that much of hard work, lot of innovations, inventions, all that has gone into your PVR Foods. So today what you are is totally your brainchild, your passion put together, I guess. So we are so proud of you, Subhadra. Thank you very much for those inputs. Now I'd like to invite another person who's also so different, somebody to doing with clothing and textiles, Dr. Manjula. She's gone through a variety of life experiences, and today if she is what she is, the founder director of Vaithara, it's because of all that she has undergone. So I'm happy to welcome Dr. Manjula to share her experiences. Manjula madam, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So welcome Manjula madam, please share your experiences with us.
Yes. Where I am. Just a minute. I just need to. Yes. So good evening, everybody. And I hope, since last more than an hour, we all are here. And it's been so inspiring to hear so many of them. And I can see that I'm one of the most oldest and the senior most in terms of ages. And of course, age is a number. Okay. So that's what I have a long journey. I'll try to cut it into very short. I'm the fourth daughter in a Marwadi family, very conservative Marwadi family. And next week, I'm going to be 65. Okay. So that tells you how long is the journey been. And I'm from Kolkata, born, brought up, breaded, buttered, all in Kolkata, toasted and jammed in Mumbai. So I'm sitting in Mumbai, Juhu. Okay. And I have a very sincere, what do I say? Gratitude. The only word I have. One thing, Dr. Vibhuti, most of you may be knowing, is because of her that I'm here and meeting all of you grand people. And she is really helping me to reach out to various people. So it's all because of her that I'm here. So first acknowledgement goes to her. And then, of course, most of you. So my journey started way back in Calcutta. As I said, I'm the fourth daughter. And right from my childhood, like I was the fourth daughter and my father, my mother used to tell that iski shaadi ki jaldi nahi karenge. We will make her teach as much as she wants to study, because I was a brat, very aggressive, but very good in my education. And I never liked to be like somebody else also mentioned about the dolls and all. Even I never played like a girl. No Cinderella syndrome ki shaadi karna hai, sasural jana hai, ladki gudiya se khelna. That was not there. I was given a cycle when I was 6. On first standard, I stood first. So my father bought me a cycle. And with that cycle, I used to roam out the whole day with all the boys in my community there, where we were staying, Mohalla, in Bengal, we say. And I stay in a big, huge place in Kolkata, in front of my house, between Fort Williams and Victoria Memorial. So it's all greenery. And the whole day I'm out with all the boys with their cycles. And I was like a tomboy. So that was the childhood. Then at the age of 14, I got this white spots, leukoderma. Okay, because I'm not a Firang, I'm quite an Indian and a very dark Indian. Okay, so in fact, my grandmother never liked me because I was one of the darkest grandchild she had. Okay, fourth daughter, but that too dark. But now the whole thing, the leukoderma has turned into a total white woman. If you meet me in person, you can't even figure out. Okay, I look like a total Firangi. One of the most beautiful women you will see is me, kind of a thing. So at the age of 14, I got my leukoderma. So my mother was very clear. Abhi tere ko jo karna hai kar. And unfortunately, it was like blessing in disguise. The first was this leukoderma. Second, I lost my mom when I was 16. So that gave me another opportunity to pursue my education. Okay, because the only choice my father had, either to marry me off or to make me study. So he also opted, and I got support. I can't say that I didn't get family support. My brother-in-law was a doctor. I was 2 years old when he was married. So he supported me, and that's how I landed up studying. So Ma Saraswati's blessing that I have got a lot of education. I love to learn, keep on learning, keep on joining classes, keep on understanding something new. So that's how, learning is the constant thing. And as you know, I was just taking some points. I think Chitra mentioned about money part. So what I felt is that, why only money? Why only Lakshmi? We need to have Saraswati, Lakshmi and Durga. All three skills, in us to be a successful woman to start with, and of course, women entrepreneur. That is one thing. So now at the age of 20, I came to Bombay. And that's the time I left home. So either you go to in-laws or you come to your this thing, the whole world. So the whole world has been a big community. I happened to be in SNDT University, studied, and that is the time my father was not very well prepared. So he told me कि नहीं मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है. He didn't have money to educate me. He had enough money to marry me off. Okay, so that was the whole difference. I said, "ठीक है, you don't give me money, give me permission." And that's how I landed up in SNDT, and I got to pay my own education. So I got a employment with the university itself as a part-time lecturer. So I have been very fortunate to start earning at that age. Okay, a part-time lecturer, I used to earn 350 rupees a month, while my kharcha was 250. Okay, so 100 rupiya bachta tha. And then in 78, there was a this thing, flood came. So the trains were stopped. So I couldn't go to Calcutta. So I flew. I took a flight ticket in 50%. So for 600 rupees, I paid 300 in place of 40 rupees by train. Okay. And my father scolded me. He's a Kanjus Marwadi. He said, what is it? Just because you have started earning, you have no right to spend. Okay, so that's how all my money was controlled there, and I could grow. And then, the entrepreneur kida, like entrepreneur ko agar Hindi mein bolenge, andar ki prerana. Okay, it is something which you are born with and you can't stay without it. So I was a topper of the university. I was a brilliant student, everything fine. And I was to go to America to do my studies. GRE diya, TOEFL diya, sab clear hua, admission ho gaya. And then I realized why to go. 80s mein, if you go abroad, you're not going to come back ever, back to your own country. So I took a first decision, which was revolutionary, ki no, I'm not going. Okay, so I have been a person ki pata nahi hai kya karti hai. So I have always chosen, shadi nahi karna hai, padhai karni hai, then America nahi jana, India mein kaam karna hai. And then I went and did jobs because I got a job in Bombay here, but I didn't have a place to live. So my father didn't allow me to stay here. Okay, because in Marwadis, that's very important. Where do you stay? I think all the parents, even today, I will not let my daughter stay anywhere just because if she's unsafe, Still the women are allowed now, but those days you can't imagine. So I went and worked in Agriculture University, Pantnagar. After that, like different. So in 6 years, I left some 6 jobs. Okay, and one of the jobs, that's where the andar ka, what is inside you is shown. That at one of the places, I remember, I don't have to mention the place, I told my boss, she said, "Tumko kya farak padta hai? Koi padta hai, nahi padta, tum class mein aao." So I told her, I said, "Listen, ma'am, ye 1501 rupees ke liye, I was paid 1501 rupees by then. So I told her, I'm not coming here for this money. I'm here for 15,000 rupees I would have got in my father's office way back home." Another 5 minutes?
नहीं आप कंटिन्यू कर सकते हो. ओनली थिंग इज आपका बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है तो बट चित्रा गणपति हैज टू लीव. So let her do, and
let's have a pause. Let's have a pause. No problem. Absolutely.
Thank you, Manjula.
Thank you. You're most
So
welcome.
from Kolkata and Mumbai, we are going to now shift to my place, temple, the city of temples, Madurai. So,
Okay.
yeah. So Chitra Ganapati, she is also a person doing something very, very different. I don't want to say that. Let's hear it from her directly of what she is doing and why she chose to do it like this instead of doing it the regular way. So I'm very happy to invite Chitra Ganapati to share her experiences and ideas, and let us know why she wanted to do it so differently in the traditional way into this service industry. Chitra?
Good afternoon to all.
Sorry to both of you. Sorry, I didn't look into the message that Ms. Chitra sent.
But
sorry to Manjula also. We'll come back to you.
I have to go only at 4:30. I could have waited for Madam Manjula to finish. It's only
anyway, it is only 24. I mean, only 15 more minutes. Yeah, okay. Please go ahead.
Sorry. So I have another meeting at 4:30. So I'll, with the permission of the floor, can you enable screen sharing, ma'am?
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Meena, you can allow her to share the screen.
Yeah, I do make her as a co-host. By that she can share her screen. Yeah, okay. I have made. Please.
Thank you. So I have a small presentation which will run for about a minute, and that will give a better idea about what is it that we are doing. And I'll just play. Vanakkam.
Your screen has not been shared.
One second. Are you able to see it now?
Yeah, it is coming.
Yes. Yeah, now we could.
You click on that to get it.
Welcome to Kadambavanam Temple of Tamil Traditions. Set in a sea of green in the countryside of Madurai, Tamil Nadu, Kadambavanam offers visitors a glimpse into the oldest
the folder is only has been shared. Folder name and
the screen is not being shared. Only the folder,
not the video.
Okay. You have to click over that and then it will appear. Yeah, it is there. It is coming.
It is coming now?
It was seen somewhere on the side, but now I could not see. You again click over there and
click the screen, no? That side one.
Your screen has been shared, but not the video, ma'am. The folders and everything is shown here.
Only the folder page is shown. You have to click over there.
Is it
double click?
Please maximize the video, ma'am.
Please maximize that, ma'am.
You want to maximize that, ma'am?
Yeah. Are you seeing it now?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, please share the tab in which it is being played. You are sharing a different tab. There are multiple screens. I think you are sharing the other screen. So kindly click onto the screen which is playing the content.
1 second. Just 1 second.
Yeah, minimize this folder one. Keep only one screen open, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah,
now it's so.
Now it is come.
Yeah. Vanakkam. Welcome to Kadambavanam Temple of Tamil Traditions. Set in a sea of green in the countryside of Madurai, Tamil Nadu, Kadambavanam offers visitors a glimpse into the oldest continuously living civilization in the world, showcasing Tamil tradition and culture, arts and crafts, music and dances, spiritual beliefs and culinary delights. Our ethnic resort provides a culturally immersive experience through storytelling, recreating tradition and rituals with guests participating hands-on, in addition to offering yoga and meditation, nature walks, village visits, cookery classes, handicrafts workshops, and lecture demonstrations. The Kadambavanam Cultural Center offers a cultural evening where guests can learn about our spiritual beliefs, sample Tamil games, a bit of astrology, the highlight being a presentation of Bharatanatyam, the classical dance of Tamil Nadu, and folk dances and leather puppetry, followed by a sumptuous, typical Tamil ethnic banana leaf dinner. Come to Kadambavanam and experience Tamil Nadu.
So I think I will start now. Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
audible.
Yes.
So a very good evening to all the participants and the organizers from the respective educational institutions. It was very nice listening to the journeys of fellow women who have followed their own paths and dreams. And all of our stories are very different. That is what I felt. I am basically a cost accountant, and I entered business at the age of 40. So perhaps as Dr. Manonmani mentioned earlier, at the time that I mentioned, I'd almost achieved a hormonal balance sort of. And again, we could relate to some of the things that each and every one of you said, like how Subhadra mentioned. My husband is an architect, and we were all like living a very comfortable life. So when we said that we wanted to do this business, and how we got into it is not because we had a lot of money and we wanted to get into the hospitality industry, because the hotel industry is a very, very competitive, cutthroat and capital intensive industry. But the reason why we got into it is because I come from a lineage of Tamil scholars. My great-grandfather is Maraimalai Adigal. And those of you interested in Tamil would know him. There's a bridge and an area named after him in Chennai, and he has done a lot for the cause of Tamil. And my father was a history professor. And, my husband being an architect, we had our little bit of traveling around the world. And wherever you go, you see that the culture of the place is showcased and marketed so beautifully, even if they have only a 400 or 500-year-old history. And here we are sitting with around 4,000 years of history. And for a regular tourist who comes into Tamil country, that is Tamil Nadu, a lot of hopping happens, a lot of temple viewing happens. But when they go back, they're not exactly getting an understanding of our culture. Like, what is it that makes us the Tamil people? You don't get that by just seeing a Bharatanatyam performance, for example. So all these ideas put together, gelled into this concept where Kadambavanam is a first of its kind project on endogenous tourism, where we combine various things like eco, spiritual, cultural, culinary tourism into one product. So it's an experiential project, and you have to come and stay there and take part in all the activities that we give to gain that experience. Otherwise, you don't have to come there. You can always go to any resort in Kodaikanal. So that is our USP. And when we first brought this, the first problem obviously started with the funding part. And, many in the family were saying, why you're leading such a comfortable life? Why do you want to throw this and now go and start something new? Both of you are crossed in your 40s. One advantage I had is that my children were already grown up. I have 2 boys and they were already finishing school then. So that was the only advantage I probably had. And,
Hello, Chitra?
There is some
Network issues.
Miss Chitra. I think got stuck, I believe.
Looks like
Yeah, some problem, network problem, I believe.
network.
I'll call her.
Yeah,
Anyway, you ask Manjula to continue then. I'll call her.
Yeah. Maybe we can wait.
Network issue, I think. Poor network issue she has.
She seems to have network issues. Let's wait a minute so that if she's coming back, okay. If not, then we can move on to Manjula. She's gone off, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
She's not there, no?
Yeah, ma'am. She left. I think she will be joining.
Maybe a minute, because I can't then again shift to Manjula and then again Chitra. Maybe we can wait a couple of minutes. In the meantime, maybe we can talk about the experiences that we've heard about. Would the participants like to ask some questions to people who have somebody says, let Manjula be asked to talk about her and her vision. Snehalata says, we'll wait a couple of minutes because she has to leave by 4:30 and I don't want the participants to miss out on Chitra's experience. So if the participants have any questions,
Sugandha, Chitra will join till then you can have the discussion. She's trying.
Okay. So if the audience would like to ask some questions to the entrepreneurs who have already shared their experiences, you're welcome to do so now. You can either put it in the chat or you can even ask your questions. You can unmute and ask your questions, friends.
I just throw some. Anybody can answer. That it was interesting to understand from the sharing of our invitees that they had either the established business already or carrying out the family business, and some of you started scratch. All these things are there, and you could sustain and be a model to others. So apart from your focus of continuously supporting the women in employment, have you been there to also support young entrepreneurs, very much the micro scale, because that is in a way helping in creating employment, either self-employed or they will be extending 2 to 3 members employment. So if that also is part of your endeavor, will be better, no? More and more women can come into entrepreneurial field. So have you attempted to integrate such focus in your business? Whoever had done, you can.
Yes,
yes, please.
Actually, I have made an attempt of getting separate outlets from, because we are making this ready to cook millet batters. So we try to attempt to the people where they can make dosas, because rather selling it as a batter, the packet would cost hardly say 60 to 70 rupees from millets, I say. But when it is going to be as a dosa or idli, definitely the value addition is going to be high. So we we just connected with the women who can create on the roadside small kiosk where they can make dosa and idli, and they can only prepare chutneys at home, some 2-3 chutneys, and they can come and they can work for just few hours, like evening 5:30 to 9:30 also. And the batter anyway they need not prepare it, we are going to supply it. So we are just connecting such kind of a model with women. And in Pollachi I tried with one set, and we are just focusing. I think maybe in the next video or later I can get that model, how it is working. I wanted this kind of a replica model, at least 10-20 numbers of kiosks can be created across. Not only in Coimbatore, I believe it can be across Tamil Nadu and wherever we can do. So where people can immediately start a small business, because food is something which is in good way, which is tasty and healthy, is will make everybody to come and try out. So I think this is something which I am planning, and I've already.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Madam has come online, Chitra ma'am.
Yeah, she's come online.
Yeah, then
by the way,
continue.
Shubhadra, you can just give the name of your product, because company name.
Dhanyam. Dhanyam is a brand which we have a Dhanyam. Dhanyam being our common name, we have a prefix Bommi. Bommi means Bhuma Devi, the goddess of earth, who brings everything for us. So I've given a prefix of Bommi and Dhanyam. Bommi Dhanyam is a brand. Ma'am, we can listen to the madam who is in a hurry now.
Thank you. Thank you. So I once again
we can
invite
reserve.
Chitra,
I think we can
Chitra
reserve the
Ganapathy.
responses from others. Now over to
Yeah. So Chitra
Chitra.
Ganapathy is back. So we'd like to listen to Chitra Ganapathy. Yeah. Please.
Anyway, I've also in this gap. Actually, this gap was good because I've taken permission to join the other group at 4:45. So now I'm a little ease. So and so I don't know where I got cut, but something happened and the internet connection got cut. So I've just now logged in through my phone. So where was I, ma'am? I don't know where which point I got cut.
You said that you wanted to start, but your family was a little apprehensive about
Yes.
the financial commitment.
Yes, because when we initially took this project to the banks, this is not a regular hotel or a resort. We do several things that are not associated as proper, like for example, the cultural center where we run the evening shows. And we were recommended by the tourism department to go to a state financing agency, and we were funded by them. But the peculiarity of this industry is that tourism is neither in the MSME sector, and it is not extended many concessions that other industries are extended. And we were perceived as a very high risk category and given a very high cost debt. And everything was a struggle from there on. And when we went to Delhi to market the project to the travel agents, at the end of the day, as one of the participants, Sanjana, was mentioning, they don't want to try anything new, especially when it comes to foreign tourists. They're very finicky. So, you put them in a branded hotel, there are no complaints. Now, why do you want to take the risk and shift them to a new property, which is outside the city? And the whole problem is the people in the middle. We know that the end customer, the traveling tourist, will relish the experience that we give. But the travel agent in Delhi is your regular guy working for a salary. And how much does he value that experience? The whole success of the project at the end of the day comes down to that. And we've been there repeatedly, and I have found very funnily that being a lady has had its advantages in this industry, because you go and meet travel agents, they give you a good year. And I don't know, it's just because it's a very male-dominated, male-centric situation over there. And even when you go to these travel marts and we have our stalls, and I never depend on our marketing team. I go there and I tell the story. Nobody can sell the story the way I have envisioned it. I've repeatedly seen that it is our delivery that brings out the passion behind the product. So we have to be there physically, and tirelessly I'll be on my feet 6-7 hours a day in a travel mart, repeatedly in the Tamil solvanga kீரல் விழுந்த record mari சொன்னதே சொல்லிட்டு இருப்போம். And my marketing guys used to ask, ma'am, உங்களுக்கே போர் அடிக்கல, எப்படி இதே திருப்பி. But the problem is, 1 year you go to Delhi, you finish your round of marketing, you come back, and the next year you go before the season, you will see that all the guys would have changed. They would have left their job and gone elsewhere. And so when you go and say that, we have a concept project like this in Madurai, they'll say what? And then again, you start from the beginning. So, but I would say that amidst all our struggles, I have thoroughly enjoyed the process. And there is a huge satisfaction when you're your own boss, and when you're able to give livelihood to others. And our project is in a remote area. It is about 25 kilometers away from Madurai. Madurai being a very small town, 25 kilometers itself is remote. And there you see, we have employed all the local women, and in many of the categories, and many of them their education level only 5th standard, 8th standard, 10th standard school dropouts. Anga gramathukkulle kalyanam aayi, they have kids and all that. And in the rural areas, alcoholism is rampant. And so the women have to work, and in areas like that they get very few job opportunities. So what our project did was literally take the jobs to their doorstep, because we are in their village. And we taught them basic English, even to say a please and a thank you to the customers. And some of them who were 10th standard passed, we taught them basic computer skills. And given the opportunity, these women really come through. So today, right from our front office to our stores and everything, in many areas, it is the local women who are working. They have become adept in using the computers. They are able to handle, we have something called the Win HMS. It's a hotel management software. So they know how to handle it. And they've been with us, as Elizabeth was saying. We started in 2009, and the women who joined us then are still with us. And invariably, when they get married to somebody in the next village. And so they are there with us. And I would say that, we are not yet out of the red, and we have our own share of problems. And this pandemic is only something that brought it to a climax, and we are yet out of it. And hospitality and tourism is one of the worst hit industries because of the pandemic. But that is something that we have to put through, because everyone is going through it, and our success depends upon our survival. And one approach that I find really helped was, though we were very new to the hotel industry, like when we went for funding, this is what the banks asked: what is your background? Do you have experience in running this industry? And what many fail to understand is that there are some industries, like what Subhadra was saying, where R&D is required. We did our own kind of R&D, which was, we traveled extensively. We visited about 40-50 resorts in Kerala, where experiential tourism is very high. We stayed in places, we underwent experiences, we took the nuances, but none of this counts, because when you go to a bank, they prefer a guy who is already in the hospitality industry. You're still a stranger to them. So all what we did in terms of market survey and running here and there doesn't count as R&D for them. And even when we looked at bringing in investments by diluting our holding, as of now, it is only a family partnership. We wanted investors. One part is where bigger chains look at you, they want to buy you out. The other part is where there are other players, but your background, you're a non-hotelier. So then, they don't take you seriously. So all these challenges we also had in the initial phases. But today, after like 10 years, Kadamba Vanam has a brand value in the tourism industry. And in the year 2016, we were awarded the best rural tourism project by Incredible India. And it is still a struggling upward journey. And this is a process. So I'm starting to understand that there is never ever going to be a day when you say, this is it, we've achieved it, we're going to sit back and put our legs up. That's never going to happen. Every day throws up new challenges, and you learn to accept it. And I've seen that all these challenges that we face have helped push up our threshold level to bear with the pain and disappointments. So, after tackling all that, I find it very easy to tackle my two daughter-in-laws, if I might put it that way, because these confrontational situations, somebody said, like, I think it was Sanjana who said that you have to be really aggressive, and business makes you aggressive. And especially if you're a woman, sometimes you have to raise your voice to make your GM or whoever listen to you. And it does bring out, a kind of, I would say, male characteristic out of you. You can't be all gentle and all. But in the long run, as long as you know what is it that you're doing, and you're there, you're committed fully, they do respect you. And specifically in hospitality, I have seen that today there are many women like me who are running resorts, and we bring our own touch that men cannot. And like, for example, like, when we interact with the staff, when we interact with the customers, and in my case, all our chefs know that I'm a very good cook. So I will not shy away from going into the kitchen and standing along with them and cooking along with them, and then, correcting them, or like trying to get our taste right. So these are the sort of things that is very interesting, and it's been a big learning upward curve. And one more, I'll just stop with this. One more thing that we do there is, since it's a project that conceptualizes and showcases Tamil culture, we do many activities relating to bringing out cultural aspects. Like For example, we've had students from Singapore who have come here for value camps. We have had students from University of Washington for whom we've organized things. We do different kinds of things. And Tamil Value Camp, Tamil Panbatu Muham nu naduthuvom. This is for school kids. Right from 3-year-old till +2 children come. And according to their age, we design and deliver the inputs. So we have a Tirukural Ayya who will teach the first standard, second standard children to learn Tirukural through song and dance with a folksy tune. Naatupuram. And the Madri Vandu, like there are many activities, and this is really taken up by schools in and around Madurai. We have schools from Trichy and all other places coming. And it is these kind of things that drives the interest and keeps the place alive. So we're just praying and hoping that the pandemic gets over soon. And Madurai's lifeline is tourism, unlike the whole of Tamil Nadu. And we need the foreign tourists to come in. And we are just waiting that things get back to normal, and we are again full of tourists. Thank you.
Chitra, it's a testimony from my side, because I also hail from Madurai. And Kadambavanam is a wonderful place. And all of you, if you have the time and the, you'd like to come and visit Madurai, please do visit Kadambavanam. It's something out of the blue. It takes you to a different, culture. It takes you back so beautifully. The environment is absolutely amazing. I don't know how Chitra and her husband envisaged this entire thing. It has to be it's so innovative, just to put it simply. I'm still wondering how you kind of even imagined this kind of a project in the beginning. Of course, it has taken off. It's now 10, 12 years of but then why and how you even envisage this kind of a project, Chitra?
No, so as I think I did briefly touch upon it earlier, like basically we have a passion in the language, and I have a passion in history. Like for example, one good that came out of the lockdown period, when we were like totally shut down for months on end, and I had a lot of time on hand. And one thing about being an entrepreneur, I've realized you become restless. And I was, for a long time, I had been wanting to sort of put together all the, you read a lot and you acquire knowledge regarding your history and all that. I wanted to somehow showcase it. And this lockdown time turned a blessing, where I launched a YouTube channel. And I'm doing a series called Know Your Roots, which is like right now in its 53rd episode. Starting from the very beginning, it traces the history of Tamil antiquity, not the language, the culture, the people, everything put together. And it is our interest in those particular areas that made us launch this project to showcase culture. Now, what we didn't envisage probably on day one is the scale. When you go abroad, what happens? Even a small thing is like presented big. And we see that foreign, especially in foreign countries, like they are enamored by scale. Like if you go to Thailand and watch a cultural show, you will see that elephants walk into the stage and all that, so that's a kind of drama they are used to. So we couldn't conceive to do something small, like have a small, there were people who asked us, you could have had a small stage, had folk performers. No, you need the drama. So then the vision is aided by the place. The place itself is a beautiful setting. It is off the Sirmala Hills. That is why I wanted to show the video. And the place was equally playing a part in the concept coming together. So the drama starts with the place. And the particular locale, not the locality, the locale of a resort is one of the, when we did our marketing research and all that, there was a very well-established resort hotelier. And when we asked him, what would be the number one factor that you would say is important for the success of a resort? And he said there are 3 factors: location, location, location. So, and he said, in terms of the place that you are in, that the village is called Vemparali, you receive 3 big ticks. So that was, it was things like that that encourage us to start off in the first instance. And it was a coming together of many things, but it was on paper for about 4 years before we actually took the final plunge. We were doing a lot of project reports and redoing it, finalizing the final details, and then finally it became a product.
That was an amazing presentation. And I'm sure many of the participants who are with us today would like to visit your resort. And I can vouch for it. It's going to be an amazing experience for all those who make a plan to visit this, at least for a day or two. The stay place is also truly superb. So come for this experience, I should say. Anyway, thank you, Chitra. Thanks a ton for even that small video that spoke volumes about what you're doing. You know, it's more than just telling, it's more than that. Thank you, Chitra. So I'm very happy to once again welcome Manjula.
No, she is left because she also has a program, and therefore she is not able to.
Do we have
so now Patricia? Yeah, Patricia is the last one. And we have to also wind up. It is almost going to be 5.
So Patricia is நான் வந்து Patricia பத்தி சொல்லக்கூடாது. ரொம்ப ஒரு வித்தியாசமான ஒரு யாருமே எதிர்பார்க்காத ஒரு ப்ரொஃபஷன்ல அவங்க இறங்கி இருக்காங்க. எனக்குமே ரொம்ப ஆவலா இருக்கு அவங்க என்ன சொல்ல போறாங்க, அத பத்தி எப்படி அவங்க வந்தாங்க, என்ன பண்றாங்க, அதோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் என்ன அப்படிங்கறத அவங்க சொல்லுவாங்க. So without much ado, Patricia, it's over to you. நீங்க உங்க இத சொல்லுங்க.
கடையில இருக்கீங்களா? உங்க சலூன்ல தான் இருக்கீங்களா? வெரி குட். எஸ் பேசுங்க, உங்க அனுபவத்தை ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. பெட்ரிஷியா வந்து அறிமுகப்படுத்தணும்னா ஒரு கொஞ்சம் சுருக்கமா அவங்களுக்கும் நான் சொல்றது புரியணுங்கிறதுக்காக தமிழ்ல பேசுறேன். இங்க கொஞ்சம் பேர் அதர் ஸ்டேட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க, ப்ளீஸ் பார்டன் ஃபார் த சேம். ஸோ பெட்ரிஷியா வந்து அவங்க கணவர் வந்து தேர்ந்தெடுத்து திருமணம் பண்ணாங்க. ரொம்ப நல்ல லைஃப் போயிட்டு இருக்கும் பொழுது ஆல்கஹாலிக் அடிக்ட் ஆயிட்டாரு. அந்த ஆல்கஹாலிக் அடிக்டுக்காக ஒரு பெரிய மீட்டிங்க்கு அரேஞ்ச் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க. ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ஹி வாஸ் டையிங். ஸோ அவங்களோட ஒய்ஃப்ஸ்லாம் ஆல்கஹாலிக் அனானமஸ் அப்படிங்கிற ஆர்கனைசேஷன்ல ஒரு மீட்டிங்ல என்னை சந்திச்சாங்க. நான் சொன்னேன், இது ஒரு வித்தியாசமான ஃபீல்டா இருக்கே, ஒரு மென் சலூன். அப்பவே அவங்க ஹஸ்பண்ட் இருக்கும் பொழுதுமே அப்புறம் அந்த ஆப்சன்ஸ் இது பண்றதுக்காக அவங்க கத்துக்கிட்டாங்க இந்த ஒர்க்கை. அவங்க எப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சாங்கன்னா, அவங்க ஹஸ்பண்ட்க்கு தான் ஹேர்லாம் கட் பண்ணி விட்டாங்களாம், ஷேவ் பண்ணி விட்டாங்களாம். அப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சு தென் ஷி ஸ்டார்டட். அப்ப வந்து ஒரு வருஷம் எனக்கிட்ட வந்து அறிமுகமானதுக்கு அப்புறமே 2-3 வருஷம் ஸ்ட்ரகிள் பண்ணாங்க. அப்புறம் அவர் இறந்துட்டாரு. அப்ப வந்து முதல்ல அந்த கடையை என்டையரா எடுத்து நடத்துறதுக்கு, ஏன்னா ஒரு நல்ல சத்திரம் பஸ் ஸ்டாண்டுன்னு எல்லாருக்கும் திருச்சிக்கு தெரியும். அங்க ரொம்ப 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 சென்டரான பிளேஸ். அந்த இடத்துல ஒரு ஒரு மென் சலூன் நடத்துறது எவ்வளவு சேலஞ்சா இருக்கும். அண்ட் ஷி வாஸ் அ வெரி யங் சிங்கிள் மதர் வித் ஐ திங்க் 33 இயர்ஸ் இல்லையா? 33 வயசாமா அவர் இறக்கும் போது உங்களுக்கு? உடனே அதுக்கு நான் ஒரே ஒரு ஹெல்ப் என்ன பண்ணேன்னா, இமீடியேட்லி ஐ கால்ட் மிஸ் நக்லா, மை ஃப்ரெண்ட் ஃப்ரம் த ஹிந்து. உடனே அவங்கள வந்து கவரேஜ் பண்ணாங்க. பெரிய மெட்ரோ பிளஸ்ல ஒரு பக்கம் ஸ்டோரி அவங்கள பத்தி போட்டாங்க, ஏன்னா ஒரு நான் கன்வென்ஷனல் ஏரியாலன்னு. அது வந்து நிறைய பேருக்கு ரீச் ஆச்சு. அப்புறம் ஷி ஸ்டார்டட் ஃபிகரிங் இன் அதர் மீடியா. அதன் மூலம் அவளுக்கு நிறைய மற்ற ரீச்சும் கிடைச்சது, வெளிநாடுகள் வரைக்கும் போறதுக்கு அந்த நியூஸ் போறதுக்கு கிடைச்சது, சப்போர்ட் சிஸ்டம்ஸும் வந்திருக்கு. த வால் அப்படின்னு ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் நடத்துனாங்க, ஏதோ ஒரு டிவி நினைக்கிறேன், விஜய் டிவியாமா? விஜய் டிவி. அந்த டிவியில வால்ல கலந்துக்கிட்டு ஐ திங்க் ஷி ஒன் rupees 4.5 lakhs அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம்லையும். அந்த அதுக்கப்புறம் இன்னும் அவங்க பாப்புலர் ஆனாங்க. பட் இருந்தாலும் அவங்க நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி ஒரு மைக்ரோ என்டர்பிரைஸ் தான் ரன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. 2 குழந்தைங்களையும் சக்சஸ்ஃபுல்லா படிக்க வச்சிருக்காங்க, ப்ரொஃபஷனலா படிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்க குழந்தைங்க. அந்த கடையை வந்து ரன் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. அவங்க எதிர்கொண்ட பிரச்சனைகள், அதை எப்படி ஓவர் கம் பண்ணோம், ஒரு ஆணுக்கு போய் ஷேவ் பண்றதும் முடி வெட்டுறதும் ஒரு யங் சிங்கிள் உமனுக்கு எவ்வளவு சேலஞ்சா இருந்திருக்கும், அதை பத்தி இப்ப ஷேர் பண்ணுவாங்க. Patricia.
Just a minute. Some of the participants want this to be shared in English or Hindi. So I'll just very briefly say about Patricia. Patricia is a young 32-year-old woman, And unfortunately, she's also a very young widow. She has 2 children. Her husband was running a saloon, and because she lost her husband, she had to take over the saloon. She runs a men's saloon. She cuts their hair, shaves them, and she's been recognized in various places. And also she's been supported in different ways. So now Patricia will share her experiences. Patricia, நீங்க பேசலாம்.
ஓகேங்க மேடம். எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம். என் பேர் பெட்ரிஷியா. நான் வந்து கடந்த 12 வருடங்களா 12 இயர்ஸா இந்த கடையை ரன் பண்ணிட்டு வந்துட்டு இருக்கேன். அவரு 2001ல கல்யாணம் ஆச்சு. கணவர் அதுக்கு இடையில 2 குழந்தைங்கன்னு சந்தோஷமா வாழ்க்கை போயிட்டு இருந்தது. இதுக்கு இடையில வந்து அவருக்கு குடிப்பழக்கங்கள்லாம் நிறைய இருந்ததுனால இந்த கடையை அப்பப்போ ரன் பண்ண முடியாம அடிக்கடி உடம்பு முடியாம போகும். இந்த மாதிரி சுச்சுவேஷன்ல தான் நான் அவரை குடியை நிப்பாட்டுறதுக்காண்டி நான் மேடத்தை பார்க்க போனேன். அதுல பேப்பர்ல அதெல்லாமே இப்போ மேடம் சொல்லிட்டாங்க. அதனால அந்த மாதிரி பேப்பர்ல வந்து நல்லா போயிட்டு இருந்தது. எனக்கு வந்து வெளியில யாருமே வந்து வேலை பார்த்து எனக்கு பழக்கம் இல்லை. என் வீட்டுக்கார் மட்டும்தான். ஏன்னா அப்பப்போ ஜாலியா என்னங்க இப்படி பண்றீங்க, சேவிங் கட்டிங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நான் அவருக்கு கிண்டலாம் ஏதாவது நான் பண்ணி விடுவேன். உனக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி செய்யின்னு சொல்லுவாரு. அந்த மாதிரி போயிட்டு இருந்தது. அவருக்கு இந்த குடியை நிப்பாட்டுறதுக்காண்டி அந்த ஏஎம் மீட்டிங்ல தான் மேடம் சந்திச்சேன். அப்புறம் போயிட்டு வந்து கொஞ்சம் நல்லா இருந்து கியூர் ஆகி ஒரு 6 மாசம் 1 வருஷம் தான் இருந்திருப்பாரு. இறந்துட்டாரு, திடீர்னு இறந்துட்டாரு. அப்போ நான் என்ன செய்யறது, என்ன பண்றது, என்ன ஒரே குழப்பமா இருந்தது. எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் இறந்து 10 நாள். அப்போ வந்த கெஸ்ட் எல்லாம் வந்துட்டு இந்த ஈம சடங்கெல்லாம் பண்ணிட்டு இது வரைக்கும் உங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் வந்து சலூன் ஆக்சுவலா நான் கிறிஸ்டின், எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் வந்து அந்த பார்பர் அந்த கேஸ்ட். எங்க மாமனாரும் எங்க அப்பாவும் ஃப்ரெண்டு. அவங்க பொண்ணை கொடுன்னு அவங்க ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஷிப்ல நாங்க மேரேஜ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டோம். அந்த எந்த ஒரு கேஸ்ட் ப்ராப்ளம், எந்த ஒரு மதத்தினால எங்களுக்கு பிரச்சனை இல்லை, எந்த பிரச்சனையுமே வரல. நாங்க நல்லா போயிட்டு இருந்தது. 8 வருஷமா நல்லா போயிட்டு இருந்த இடையில இது மாதிரி இறந்துட்டாரு. இறந்ததுனால எல்லாரும் எங்க சொந்த பந்தம் எல்லாரும் இந்த வேலை செய்ய வேண்டாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு உங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் செஞ்ச வரைக்கும் போதும், நீயும் அந்த வேலையை செஞ்சிடாத, பசங்களோட எதிர்காலமே பாதிக்கும் அப்படின்னு எல்லாரும் அட்வைஸ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருந்தாங்க. எனக்கும் ஒரே குழப்பமா இருந்துச்சு. சொல்லுவாங்கல்ல, அடி மேல அடி அடிச்சா அம்மி நகருன்னுவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி சொல்ல சொல்ல எனக்கும் மனசுலாம் வந்து இது நம்ம தான் தவறா செய்யறோமோ, செலக்ட் பண்ணிட்டோமோன்னு தோண ஆரம்பிச்சிச்சு. அந்த சமயத்துல தான் பசங்க வந்து நீ வந்தவங்கலாம் வந்து சொன்னாங்கம்மா, ஓகே எல்லாமே நல்லதுதான் சொன்னாங்க. சொன்னவங்க யாராவது உங்களுக்கு உதவி பண்ணினாங்களா? நான் கொடுக்குற அமௌண்ட்டை வச்சு நீ ஏதாவது சின்ன தொழில் பண்ணு, இல்ல வேற ஏதாவது செய்யு அப்படின்ட்டு ஏதாவது சொன்னாங்களா? அட்வைஸ் தானே பண்ணாங்க. எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் இறந்து போகும்போது என் பையன் வந்து 6th படிச்சான். என் பொண்ணு வந்து அவங்க 7 இயர்ஸ்ன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அவங்க 7th படிச்சாங்க. இவ்வளவுதான். பையன் 6th, பொண்ணு 7th, இவ்வளவுதான் படிச்சிருந்தாங்க. அவங்க வந்து ஏமா நம்ம வந்து இந்த வேலையை செய்யலாமா, அப்பா வேலையை? யாரு சொன்னவங்க யாரும் நம்மளுக்கு ஒருத்தரும் ஒன்றும் உதவி பண்ணல. நீங்க நானு நம்ம ஆயா 4 பேரும் நம்ம இதே வேலையை செய்வோம். இதனால எங்களோட ஃபியூச்சர்ல பாதிக்காது. சொல்றவங்க என்ன வேணா சொல்லிட்டு போட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு என் பசங்க சொன்னாங்க. அப்ப நான் செய்யலாம், அப்பயும் யோசிச்சேன் செய்யலாமா செய்ய வேணாமான்னு. அப்புறம் பசங்க சொன்னதை யோசிச்சு பார்த்தேன். அதுதான் கரெக்டுன்னு முடிவு பண்ணேன். எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் இறந்து 9ஆம் நாள் நான் கடையை திறந்தேன். இன்ன வரைக்கும் 8 வருஷம் கம்ப்ளீட் ஆயிடுச்சு. நான் இன்னும் ரன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். இதை இப்படியே தொடர்ந்து போயிட்டு இருந்தது. இதுக்கு இடையில நிறைய பிரச்சனைகள் எல்லாம் சந்திச்சு என்ன சொல்றது, 25% நல்லது நடந்தா 75% பிரச்சனையா தான் இருந்தது. அந்த பிரச்சனையெல்லாம் ஃபேஸ் பண்ணி வர 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 இன்னும் தன்னம்பிக்கையும் தைரியமும் இன்னும் ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிடுச்சு. ஆனா இந்த தொழிலுக்கு நான் எப்படி வந்தேன்னு சொன்னா, ஒரு பெரிய கடல், அந்த கடலுக்குள்ளார நிறைய முதலை, பாம்பு, தேளு எல்லாம் இருக்குது. அதுக்கு ஆப்போசிட்ல வந்து ஒரு தங்கம், வைரம் எல்லாம் இருக்கிற புதையல் இருக்கு. இதெல்லாம் எப்படி தாண்டி போறதுன்னு யோசிச்சுட்டு இருக்கும்போது திடீர்னு ஒருத்தன் வந்து குதிச்சு அந்த கரைக்கு போய் இந்த தங்கம் வைரம் எல்லாம் எடுத்தாங்களாம். அந்த மாதிரி தங்கம் வைரம் எல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டாங்களாம். எடுத்துட்டு அவன் வந்து திரும்பி திரும்பி பார்த்தானா. என்ன திரும்பி திரும்பி பாக்குறேன்னு சொல்லும்போது, யாரா என்னை பிடிச்சி தள்ளி விட்டது அப்படின்னு சொன்ன மாதிரி, அந்த மாதிரிதான் நான் இந்த இடத்துக்குள்ளாரையே வந்தேன். குடும்ப சூழ்நிலை, மாமியாரை பார்த்துக்கணும், கடன் பிரச்சனை, அந்த மாதிரி பிரச்சனைகள் தான் நான் இந்த இதுக்குள்ளார வந்தேன். வந்து ஒரு லேடி வந்து ஜென்ஸுக்கு வேலை செய்யணும்னா, அதுவும் பப்ளிக் பிளேஸ்ல வந்து செய்யணும்னா பெரிய கஷ்டம். அந்த கஷ்டத்தெல்லாம் வந்து நிறைய ஃபேஸ் பண்ணேன். ஃபேஸ் பண்ணி அதையும் வந்து தைரியமா அவங்க வேலை செஞ்சுட்டு போனோன்னே நான் கடையில உட்காந்து அழுகுவேன். ஐயோ நம்மளுக்கு இப்படியெல்லாம் நம்மளை கேட்குறாங்களே, இந்த மாதிரியெல்லாம் நம்மளை
அத சொல்லுங்க பெட்ரிஷியா. அவங்க வந்து எனக்கு மசாஜ் பண்ணி விடுறியான்னு கேட்பாங்க. 12 மணிக்கு போன் பண்ணுவாங்க. சொல்லுங்க. அவ்வளவு கம்ஃபர்டபுளான இது கிடையாது இல்லையா?
ஆமா ஆமா. பேப்பர்ல வந்ததுனால வந்து இன்னும் பிரச்சனைகள் ஜாஸ்தியா தான் வந்தது. பேப்பர்ல வந்தது எல்லாருமே என்னோட ஃபோன் நம்பரை வாங்கிட்டு 12 மணிக்கு 2 மணிக்கெல்லாம் ஃபோன் பண்ணி நீங்க
வெளிநாட்டுல இருந்து
வெளிநாட்டுல இருந்தாலும் அது மேடம்க்கே தெரியும். அவங்கள்ட்ட பேசிக்கிறதுக்கே ஃபோன் வந்துச்சு, நான் அட்டன் பண்ணேன் அவங்களுக்கு முன்னாடியே. அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் நிறைய ஃபோன் 12 மணி 1 மணிக்கெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு ஐ லவ் யூன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. உங்களை எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்சிருக்கு, நான் உங்களை மேரேஜ் பண்ணிக்கிறேன், அப்படி இப்படி எல்லாம் நிறைய ஃபோன் கால்ஸ் எல்லாம் வரும். அப்புறம் நீங்க இந்த வேலை தானே செய்றீங்க, அப்போ எல்லாத்துக்கும் தயாரா தானே இருப்பீங்க அப்படின்லாம் கேட்டிருக்காங்க. கொஞ்சம் எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் இறந்தப்ப கொஞ்ச நாள் எங்க அப்பா வந்து என் கூடவே இருந்தாரு. அந்த சமயத்துல வந்து ஒரு பையனுக்கு நான் ஹேர் கட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன். அந்த பையன் வந்து நான் வேலை செஞ்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்கும்போது என்னைய டச் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருந்தான். அந்த மாதிரி என்னால வேலை செய்ய முடியாத அளவுக்கு வந்து என்னை டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருந்தான். நான் அப்போ என்ன பண்ணேன், எங்க அப்பா கிட்ட வந்து 100 ரூபாய் காசு எடுத்து கொடுத்து, நீ இதை எடுத்துக்கிட்டு போய் எப்பா சில்லறை வாங்கிட்டு வாங்கப்பா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவரை வெளியில அனுப்பிட்டு நான் அந்த பையன்கிட்ட சொன்னேன், ஏன்பா எனக்கு இப்படியெல்லாம் டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ற, இந்த இடத்துல வந்து உங்க அம்மாவோ அக்காவோ தங்கச்சியோ இல்ல உங்க வீட்டுக்காரம்மாவோ இருந்தா நீங்க என்ன நினைப்பீங்க, இந்த மாதிரிதான் பண்ணுவீங்களா, இது அடுத்தவங்க பண்ணுனா உங்க மனசு எப்படி இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு அப்பயும் பொறுமையா செஞ்சேன். ஏன்னா யாராவது பெத்த பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு வந்து பிரச்சனைன்னு சொன்னா எந்த அப்பாவா இருந்தாலும் விட்டுற மாட்டாங்க. அந்த இடத்துல வந்து நான் ஹார்ஷா பேசியிருந்தா அவங்க வந்து என்ன ஆம்பளைங்களை தொட்டு வேலை செய்யற, நீ என்ன யோக்கியமானு அடுத்த செகண்ட் பேச ஆரம்பிச்சிருவாங்க. அதனால நான் இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் பண்ணாதீங்கப்பா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நானு அந்த பையன்கிட்ட எடுத்து சொன்னேன். அந்த பையனும் சரிக்கா மன்னிச்சுக்கங்கன்னு அவன் மன்னிப்பு கேட்டுட்டு போயிட்டான். அப்புறம் இது இன்னும் ஒருத்தர் வந்து மசாஜ் பண்ணிட்டு மசாஜ் பண்ண வரீங்களா வீட்டுக்குன்னு, வரேங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னேன். வந்தாக்கா நீங்க எல்லாமே பண்ணுவீங்களா, நீ எல்லாமே பண்ணுவீங்களான்னு புரியலங்க சார், எனக்கு தலைக்கு மட்டும்தான் ஹெட் மசாஜ் மட்டும்தான் தெரியும் அப்படின்னு. இல்லைங்க பாடி மசாஜ் ஹெட் மசாஜ் மாதிரி தான் பாடி மசாஜும், அப்புறம் வந்து எல்லாமே பண்ணணும்னா எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே புரியலைங்க சார் அப்படின்னு. அப்போ நீங்க வந்து ஏங்க நீங்க வெளிநாட்டுல எல்லாம் மசாஜ் எல்லாம் பார்த்தது இல்லையா அப்படின்னா, அதெல்லாம் அந்த மாதிரி பொண்ணு கிடையாதுங்க சார், நான் வந்து என்னோட வாழ்க்கை தரத்தை உயர்த்துறதுக்கு மட்டும்தான் நான் வேலை செஞ்சு நேர்மையான வழியில வேலை செஞ்சுதான் நான் சாப்பிடணும்னு நான் அந்த ஃபீல்டுக்கு வந்திருக்கேங்க சார், நீங்க வந்து என்னை தவறா நினைச்சுக்காதீங்க, மன்னிச்சுக்கோங்க அப்படின்னு அவர் மேலேயும் கோவப்படாம தான் நான் வந்தேன். ஏன்னா நான் கோவப்பட்டேனாக்க அடுத்த அவங்க ரியாக்ஷன்லாம் வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும். அதனால சாரி சார் என்னை மன்னிச்சுக்கோங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அந்த மாதிரி தான் நான் ஒவ்வொரு விஷயத்தையும் வந்து குறைச்சிக்கிட்டேன். அப்படியும் இந்த பேப்பர்ல வந்தது எல்லாமே வந்து நைட்டு 12 மணிக்கு 1 மணிக்கெல்லாம் அதிகமான ஃபோன் கால் வந்து ரொம்ப டார்ச்சரா இருக்கும். பசங்களுக்கு டிஸ்டர்பா இருக்கும், இப்படியெல்லாம் ஃபோன் வருதே அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு கடைசியில நான் ஒரு முடிவு எடுத்தேன். நம்மளுக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னு சொன்னா மட்டும்தான் இந்த ஃபோன் கால்ஸ் எல்லாம் அவாய்ட் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு, அப்படி ஃபோன் வர்றவங்கள்ட்ட சாரி சார் எனக்கு கல்யாணம் ஆயிடுச்சு, பக்கத்துல எங்க வீட்டுக்கார் படுத்திருக்காரு, பசங்களாம் படுத்திருக்காங்க, தப்பா நினைச்சிருவாங்க, ப்ளீஸ் இது மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணாதீங்க அப்படின்னு தான் அவங்கள்ட்ட எல்லாம் எடுத்து சொல்லி ஒவ்வொரு கால்ஸையும் அவாய்ட் பண்ணி இப்ப எல்லாம் எந்த கால்ஸும் வர்றதில்லை. இந்த மாதிரி தான் ஒவ்வொரு பிரச்சனைகளையும் தாண்டி வந்தேன். தாண்டி வந்து இன்னைக்கு வந்து சன் டிவி, விஜய் டிவி, எல்லா டிவிலையும் நான் வராத டிவி சேனலும் கிடையாது, வராத பேப்பரும் கிடையாது. இன்னைக்கு அன்னைக்கு நான் இந்த கடைக்குள்ளார 4 பேர் நின்னாலே அந்த இடத்துல வர்றதுக்கு நான் பயப்படுவேன். இன்னைக்கு எத்தனையோ மேடைகள்ல நான் போய் கல்லூரி பக்கமே நான் போனது கிடையாது. இன்னைக்கு எல்லா கல்லூரிகளையும் சீஃப் கெஸ்டா போறேன். எத்தனையோ ஸ்கூலுங்களுக்கு சீஃப் கெஸ்டா போறேன். நான் 10th தான் முடிச்சிருக்கேன். 10th இந்த டைலரிங் டிப்ளமோ தான் முடிச்சிருக்கேன். வேற அதிகமான இங்கிலீஷ் அது படிச்சது கிடையாது. ஆனாலும் இன்னைக்கு எத்தனையோ பெண்களுக்கு முன்மாதிரியா இருக்கிறது. சன் டிவில எல்லாம் திருச்சியின் பெருமை மிகு பெண்மணி அப்படின்னு சில சமயம் நானே என்னைய பெருமையா நினைச்சுக்கிறேன். பெண்ணாய் பிறந்ததுக்கு இப்ப நானே ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்படுறேன். நான் என்ன மாதிரியே என் பொண்ணுகிட்டையும் அடிக்கடி சொல்லுவேன், எதுக்கும் பயப்படாதமா, எந்த வேலையா இருந்தாலும் துணிச்சலாகவும் திறமையாகவும் செய்யணும். நம்ம செய்யறது தவறா இருந்தாலும் முயற்சிகள் என்னைக்குமே நிப்பாடக்கூடாது. நம்ம முயற்சி பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருந்தோம். அன்னைக்கு எத்தனையோ நாள் என்னைய பார்த்துட்டு ஓடி இருக்காங்க. பொம்பளை கிட்ட நான் சேவிங் பண்ண முடியாது, கட்டிங் பண்ண முடியாதுன்னு எத்தனையோ நாள் ஓடி இருக்காங்க. நான் அப்ப எல்லாம் நான் கோட்டை உடனே போட மாட்டேன். கோட்டு போடாம வெளியில நிப்பேன். எங்க கடையில ஆள் இல்லையான்னு கேட்பாங்க. வாங்க சார் உள்ளார உட்காருங்க வந்துருவாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு சேர்ல உட்கார வச்சுட்டு அப்புறம் நான் கோட்டை போடுவேன். நீங்க தான் சேவிங் பண்ண போறீங்களான்னு எத்தனையோ கஸ்டமர் இறங்கி எல்லாம் ஓடி இருக்காங்க. அப்ப எல்லாம் மனசு கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். 50 ரூபா மட்டும்தான் வேலையே பார்த்திருப்பேன். எப்படா வாடகை கட்டுறது அப்படின்லாம் யோசிச்சேன். இன்னைக்கு 50 ரூபாய நான் கஷ்டப்பட்டுட்டு வேற வேலை ஏதாவது போயிருந்தா இன்னைக்கு நான் 1000 ரூபாயோ 500 ரூபாயோ இன்னைக்கு எந்த வேலை இந்த என்னோட சேலரிய நான் என் பசங்களை படிக்க வைக்கிறதுக்கோ இந்த வாடகை கொடுக்கறதுக்கு வீடு வாடகை கொடுக்கறதுக்கெல்லாம் இன்னைக்கு எல்லாம் தைரியமா நான் எதுவா இருந்தாலும் இன்னைக்கு இல்லைன்னா நாளைக்கு வந்துரும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அன்னைக்கு எப்படி நான் யோசிச்சேனோ அதே தான் இன்னைக்கும் யோசிச்சுட்டு இருக்கேன். இன்னும் என் வேலையில என்ன அதிகமா கத்துக்கணும், இன்னும் பசங்களை நல்லா திறமையா வளர்க்கணும். இன்னும் என்ன மாதிரி பெண்களுக்கு நிறைய இப்ப இந்த பேப்பர்ல டிவில வந்தாக்க நிறைய பெண்கள் எனக்கு கால் பண்ணி பேசுவாங்க. அது இது மாதிரி நான் எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் விட்டுட்டு போயிட்டாரு, இந்த மாதிரி எங்க வீட்டுக்காரர் குடிகாரரா இருக்காரு, நான் என்ன பண்றது அப்படின்லாம் நிறைய பெண்களுக்கு என்னோட வாழ்க்கையை தான் உங்களுக்கு முன்னுதாரணமா சொல்லுவேன். உங்கள்ட்ட பேசினது எனக்கு ரொம்ப திருப்தியா இருக்கு, மனசுக்கு சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு அப்படின்லாம் யோசிப்பாங்க. இது மாதிரிலாம் சொல்லுவாங்க. அது நிறைய பேர் எங்கெங்க இருந்தாலும் பேசுவாங்க, யாருன்னே தெரியாது. ஆனா அவங்கள்ட்டையும் அவங்க என்கிட்ட 10 நிமிஷம் பேசுனா எனக்கு மனசுக்கு நிம்மதியா இருக்கு அப்படின்லாம் சொல்லுவாங்க. இந்த மாதிரி என்னோட வாழ்க்கை போயிட்டு இருக்கு.
ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் பெட்ரிஷியா. To get into an unconventional profession, எவ்வளவு கஷ்டங்கள் இருக்கு, அதுல எவ்வளவு ஒரு விஷயங்கள் சந்திக்க வேண்டியது இருக்குங்கிறத பெட்ரிஷியா சொன்னாங்க. ஓப்பனா ரொம்ப நல்லா சொன்னாங்க. One thing that I notice about all the entrepreneurs is that how they have reached out to other women. மத்த பெண்களுக்கும் நம்ம உதவி பண்ணணுங்கிற அந்த எண்ணம் இருக்கு பாருங்க, that makes you stand out. இத நான் மத்த பெண்களுக்கும் உதவி பண்றேங்கிறது எல்லாருமே சொன்னாங்க, பெட்ரிஷியா உட்பட. And that is a real highlight. இன்னொரு விஷயம் நான் என்ன அப்சர்வ் பண்ணேன்னா, to work honestly and to work ethically. நியாயமா உண்மையா வேலை பார்த்தா எந்த வேலையும் சக்சஸா வரலாங்கிறத இன்னைக்குள்ள செஷன்ல இருந்து நிஜமாவே நமக்கு அது தெரிய வந்தது. தட் எந்த வேலையா இருந்தாலும் அதுல உண்மை இருந்தா நிச்சயமா எந்த ப்ராப்ளம்ஸையும் we can face, whether it is financial, whether it is environmental, whether it is familial, எதா இருந்தாலும் we can face and yet succeed in life and with a lot of satisfaction. நம்ம ஒரு தொழில் எடுத்து செய்யறப்ப அதுல இருக்கிற ஆத்ம திருப்தி, the satisfaction of having done it makes a world of difference to to all of us.
Sugandha, you can translate a few lines what Patricia said. Some non-Tamil people
was saying that she was saying that she cuts hair and for men and hair cutting and shaving and all that. So often many of them do not want to get her services, because how do I get my hair cut or my shaved by a woman? So that was one of her struggles. Another major struggle was sexual harassment. The kind of approaches she had to face by men, not only directly but also over phone. In fact, international calls also she used to get to say, will you massage me, give me a good body massage and all that. So how she faced these challenges was often when it's phone call, she'll say, I'm married and I have a family and this is not my way of working. But with others, she was very straightforward, outright open, and she said, this is not the way I work. And slowly, people caught on and they realized that she means just business and she's not the one to play games with, but she does good service, honest day's work. And she's become very popular. She's come in many TVs channels and she's being supported by many people, not only in Trichy, elsewhere also. So she's very happy with the kind of work. She's also supporting many women who are in dire situations. They call her up and she talks to them and shares her experiences and she gives courage to them. So she's also supporting other women who are in need in different ways. So Patricia is an example. ரொம்ப பெருமையா இருக்கு Patricia. உங்க நிறைய பேர் chatல கூட போட்டிருந்தாங்க. If participants would like to ask a few questions, நீங்க கேட்கலாம். Patricia இல்ல மத்தவங்கள்ட்ட கூட.
மேடம், நான் மட்டும் சிங்கப்பெண்ணா இருந்து பத்தாதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு நிறைய பேர் சிங்கப்பெண்களா உருவாக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். நிறைய பேர் மனசு கஷ்டமா இருக்கு, அப்படி இருக்கு இப்படி இருக்குன்னுவாங்க. அவங்களெல்லாம் வந்து உங்க விண்ணை தாண்டி வருவாயாங்கன்னா உங்க எல்லையை தாண்டி வாங்க, அப்பதான் நீங்க வந்து உங்களுக்கான வாழ்க்கையை வாழ முடியும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நிறைய ஒரு 7-8 பேர் தைரியமா அவங்களோட லைஃப ரன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
Very good. That's amazing. So today I think it was an amazing day to have met 7 amazing women in such unconventional kind of activities that they've taken up. நீங்க எல்லாரும் இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஷேர் பண்ணதுல ரொம்ப ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். I think lots of us have got a lot of energized. We are all energized. இன்னும் நாங்க பண்ணணுங்கிற ஒரு ஆர்வம் தான் கூடி இருக்கு எங்களுக்கு. Yes. So a couple of minutes, if any of the participants would like to ask questions, either in chat or you can directly ask.
It can be appreciation also, apart from your questions. All of them are doing immense service, though their own business, but still it is a service. So word of appreciation can also come from the participants, and please do so, whatever the questions. And then with both of thanks, we can wind up. Anybody? I think Sugantha has also done justice in translating the whole. There were a lot of messages that it should be either in English or Hindi. Sugantha is also quite well versed in Hindi, but still she translated, and you could get that also. Anybody has any questions? Hello, otherwise we can. Yes, please.
Yeah. Madam, I was there in the last.
Madam, BC last week invited.
Yeah.
Madam Arlanini Patnavis from Solapur, PH Solapur University.
Very right.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining here today.
Yeah, I was listening very carefully each and every expert of this particular session, and I'm really happy. I just want to appreciate all of the question answers has been done. And what some of them have said, that it should be a part and parcel of university curriculum. It should be a course design, so that anything which is coming, maybe because of the interest or maybe because of some issues, trouble can come at any time, at any moment of our life. So that should become a part of curriculum, so that our girl students should become very robust in understanding that if some situations are there, or if my liking is there, passion is there, whatever has been said today, that can give a lot of energy, can lot of understanding with these experiences. So I congratulate each and every participant today for a wonderful session. And I think I may call some of them in my university, so that my students can also.
Definitely. I'll share the contacts with their permission.
Yeah. Yes, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So,
yes.
Thank you, Mani Meglai and Meena and all the Madurai Kamaraj University as well for conducting. Yeah, Jennifer, for organizing this and giving me an opportunity to moderate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Suganta. You have done very wonderfully well the moderating work. And over to now, Dr. Hannah, for the vote of thanks.
Very good evening to one and all present here who have joined in this program. I thank each and every one. Before I start, I would just like to say, as Dr. Mrinalini mentioned, we in Mother Teresa Women's University, through our EDC cell, we have incorporated these things into our curriculum, and also we are encouraging our women students to become entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, because being women at any time, as the panelists were discussing, at any point of time, women can stand on their own legs, they can start their own business. And the panelists today, they really gave us an inspiring testimony about their own business and how they started. And it was, I think our students would have really benefited, and all the participants. At the outset, I would wish to express my sincere thanks to the Vice Chancellors of the three universities, Vice Chancellor of Mother Teresa Women's University, Dr. Vaidehi Vijaykumar, Vice Chancellor of Bharatidasan University, Dr. Selvam, and the Registrar in charge of Madurai Kamaraj University, Dr. V.S. Suganta, for giving us permission and supporting us in this endeavor. I also thank the panelists of the day, all the 7 panelists, Ms. Chitra Shivakumar, Ms. Elizabeth, Dr. Manjula, Ms. Sanjana, Ms. Chitra Ganapati, Mrs. Subhatra, and Mrs. Patricia Mary, who gave us the final touch for the. And I express my sincere thanks to all the panelists who really inspired the participants as well as all the students who attended this. I also express my thanks to Dr. N. Manimegalai, the Director and Head Department of Women's Studies, Bharatidasan University, Dr. S. Jennifer, and also Dr. Meena Priyadarshini. I once again thank each and everyone who supported, who helped us in this program. Last but not the least, I also express my thanks to all the participants who gave their time and who are participating. And also, I hope you are taking some more points, and you will really, I think these programs, the panelists have really inspired us, and hope you will share it in your college or wherever you are working. So please share all these with your friends, your students, as well as to all the people and to all the people you meet. Once again, I thank each and everyone, and a big thank you to all.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah Sharan, who is coordinator of Women Entrepreneurship Cell of Mother Teresa Women's University. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. We are going to have the series, roundtable series, for 3 more weeks, and I'll be happy to invite you all to join for the subsequent weeks also. We are going to have a program on 25th also, Friday, because till March we have only 3 Saturdays and 2 more, and therefore we wanted to have it on 25th one and 26th one. So 26th will be with bureaucrats, IAS, IPS, and judges, etc. And on 25th, we are going to have media. And maybe on 5th March, we will have the political leaders, where we have MPs, MLAs, and local body elected members present. So I invite you all to join for all these, the 25th, 26th February, and 5th March also. And please do inform to students. See, it is for 3 hours or 2.5 hour discussion, because many things have gone to our students, and we are talking about curriculum, we are talking about integrating into curriculum. So much has been practically shared, and it is all going to be our theory also. And so we will gain by listening to these personalities, and therefore make it particular to share to all and invite you, students all to join. And there is a YouTube live also going, and they can also join. We will also be, with the permission of the speakers, will record it and share it to all, so that it will be available as a document. Get inspired too. Thank you very much, all the speakers, invitees, for sparing your time, because I know how much valuable the time is for you all, being busy in your own organization, and how much it will be. Maybe in Tamil Nadu it is today is a holiday because of the local body, urban local body election. Otherwise, you will all be engrossed with your own work. Thank you very much for sparing the time. And
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
With everyone in future.
Thank you very much.
You have set a model, and you will be a model for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
आगे भी जोड़े मैम।